I'd like to bring this council meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. and I'll call on Councillor O'Hare to read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, the Hattaway-Wendoronk, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any declarations of interest? Go ahead, Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under discussion items 12.3, I'm going to declare a conflict. I have a family member who lives at that address.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Duly noted. Go ahead, Councillor D'Angela.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I usually do it at the accounts payable section, but JBM office system is recorded as checks payable to them. My brother works there, so I'd like to declare a conflict on those checks that are issued to JBM office systems.
Okay, those both are duly noted. Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? I got Councillor DeRose and Councillor Sentence. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Adoption of the minutes. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the open and closed minutes of the council meeting held on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026? Councillor D'Angela and Councillor Decker. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Mayor's report. On February 27th, CAO Manoj Dilwaria and I attended the State of the Region held at the Sheraton Falls View Hotel in Niagara Falls. Former Regional Chair Bob Gale shared his insights on our economy, regional priorities, and the direction guiding Niagara forward. On March 4th, I attended the Niagara Foundation for Catholic Education's annual Benefit Gala 2026 and Awards of Distinction held at Club Roma in St. Catharines. Trustee Jim Marino and the late Joseph McDonald were the 2026 Award of Distinction honorees. On March 7th, I was joined by Councillors Sentence, O'Hare, D'Angela, Regional Councillor Whalen, and Natalie Stickles at the grand reopening of BTO Performance Group and Personal Training Facility at their new location, 1980 Highway 20 in Thorold. Congratulations goes out to owner Dan Giancola. We wish you much continued success. On March 7th, Councillors Sentence, D'Angela, O'Hare, Regional Councillor Whalen, and BIA Chair Serge Carpino attended the grand opening and ribbon cutting of Celia by Pretty Potions Apothecary in a new community space located at 9 Front Street South. Congratulations to co-owners M. Gallagher and Steph Merna on opening your new location in our vibrant downtown. On March 7th, Councillor Mike Didavitas attended the Thorold Fire and Emergency Services Station 4 annual banquet and brought greetings on behalf of City Council. On March 10th, I attended the C.D. Howe Institute Roundtable Luncheon in Toronto, where I was joined by Grimsby Mayor Jeff Jordan and West Lincoln Mayor Cheryl Gannon. The Honorable Rob Flack, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, was the guest speaker and presented on rebuilding affordability, protecting home ownership in Ontario, which was followed by a question and answer period. On March 12th, I was joined by Councillors Decker, Didavitas, and Regional Councillor Whalen at the grand opening and ribbon cutting of Niagara Nutrition Partners at their new location, 2601 Highway 20 East, Unit Number 2 in Thorold. We presented Program Director Jessica Stevenson with a certificate in recognition of their grand opening. A valuable community partner, Niagara Nutrition Partners provides breakfast, lunch, and snacks daily to over 24,000 students. Their motto is Eat, Learn, Succeed. On March 21st, the Thorold Senior 50 Plus Center hosted its annual Seedy Saturday and Yard Sale event, marking the beginning of spring. As always, this event was well attended and supported by our community. On March 28th, Heritage Thorold will be hosting a Heritage Information Fair at the Thorold Center 50 Plus beginning at 1 p.m. This event will focus on celebrating Thorold's heritage and informing residents about the benefits of heritage preservation, the community's cultural identity, our thriving downtown business section, and more. Conserving Thorold's heritage for future generations. On behalf of City Council, I would like to thank all our community partners for the implementation of a very successful St. Patrick's Day strategy involving communication and enforcement where necessary. Brock University, Busu, Niagara College, City of Thorold, City of St. Catharines, and Niagara Region Bylaw Enforcement, Niagara Regional Police, Thorold Fire and Emergency Services, and Brock University Off-Campus Patrol all work collaboratively to ensure an early presence in all areas and enforcement throughout the day. Great team effort, and kudos to the students who were good neighbors. Residents, businesses, organizations, schools, and community partners are invited to host an Earth Day community cleanup in their local neighborhoods. Our event will be held on Saturday, April 25th from 11 to 3 p.m. at Canada Games Park in Thorold. And the city will have 3 Easter egg hunts, all being held on Saturday, April the 4th. The Darlene Ryan Port Robinson Community Center will hold theirs event beginning at 10 a.m., but this event is already fully booked. The Downtown Thorold BIA has teamed up with the Thorold Public Library and the Thorold Center 50 Plus for their Easter egg scavenger hunt from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's free, but registration is required. Visit thoroldbia.com. That's thoroldbia.com. Merrittville Speedway will be hosting their Easter Egg Extravaganza 2026 from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please visit their website or social media feed for more information. And since we will not be meeting before the long weekend, Easter weekend, on behalf of City Council and staff, Happy Easter 2026. Please take time to slow down from our busy daily routines, enjoy the long weekend with family and friends, and realize what truly is important in our lives. And that's the end of my mayor's remarks. And now we'll move on to Regional Councilor update. And for an overview from the Niagara Region budget, I'll call on Regional Councilor Tim Whalen for his presentation. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and staff and councilors. It's nice to be here again tonight to speak to you. I would assume that you had a chance to take a look at my budget update in your package this week, and so I won't go into much detail. The mayor was already warned me. I only had 3.5 minutes, so I have to get out of here quick. So, and just a little update of what transpired to get to where we ended up being at the region. We had a 3.5% target that we looked at getting to, but unfortunately we're stuck around the 10% mark for months. So getting down to 6.3 was a hassle. The staff worked with council diligently to get it where we are today, so thankfully we're at 6.3. The downside is it's not easy. Everybody's having a hard time. Even at 6.3 and combined with yours, getting below 5 is still high. And every time you look around, something's going up in price. So to get with that, like I say, some of the things that we had to contend with is police. The police, we always love the police. When we need a policeman, we like to have them available. But everything keeps getting dumped down from the province. So every time you look around, there's mandates. So they did their best to get there and down to where they were. And then if you look at things like, for example, $900,000 went to investing into a regional emergency medical vehicle. So an ambulance and the staffing of it alone is just shy of $1 million. So things aren't cheap. And our capital was approved at $198 million, and it supported 131 different projects around the region. Almost $50 million went into investing to support high-growth housing-related projects in the community and expand different parts of Niagara. $48 million was the development charges to support growth initiatives such as road expansion, implementing new traffic signals, and improving intersections around Niagara. So you see when you talk hundreds and thousands at this one, unfortunately we're talking millions, so things aren't easy as you get around the region. So like I say, I've left your report with you. So I'm here to answer any questions that anybody might have, and available now if anybody has anything.
Thank you, Councillor Whalen, and I'll get you on your second presentation after, but I'm opening the floor up for questions regarding the Niagara Regional Budget 2026. Is there anyone that has any questions? Go ahead, Councillor DeAngelo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple points that were on the press release that was issued. One was, it says here $50 million being invested in growth in house enabling projects to help expand Niagara communities. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? And is there opportunities, when I see house, is that so individuals can attain attainable housing? Is there programs or anything like in that money there that would be useful for some of the Thorold residents?
Yeah, I think that what you're speaking here, see, almost 50 are reinvested to support high-growth, housing-related projects. So that is the hub project. I think, Ms. Mary, you can clarify me if that's wrong. So that's part of it, and different projects to get people off the streets. You see, I had two projects that opened this year, one on Ryerton Street in St. Catharines, and the other one in Welland. It's temporary housing to get them into something, get them off the streets, and get them tied into long-term housing.
Okay, so that ties, you, Mr. Mayor, that ties more into the homelessness action plan?
That's right.
Okay, thank you. Then the other one, through you, Mr. Mayor, just
Yep.
a couple more here. It said $48 million in development charges will support growth initiatives such as roads, expansions, implementing new traffic signals, and improvement intersections across Niagara. Is there anything that's going to be specifically in Thorold regarding the $48 million of that growth-related items?
Well, maybe I can tap into Mr. Mayor on that one, if not catch you off guard. He sits on public works, so I'm not 100% into that area. So are you available?
Well,
answer
I
that?
don't know the specific projects. I know some of the projects that really affect Thorold. The biggest one is all the work they're doing at the DQ water treatment plant, which basically services probably around, I would say, 80% of Thorold's water supply, and the one in Port Robinson West, which is fed from Welland, but that is, we're on phase 3 now. That's a major, major upgrade, and you can see it when you drive by. A lot of that money spent on that plant is helping Thorold. There's other projects that sewage and water treatment plants that Thorold feeds into. The actual project's not in Thorold, but the result is it's improving reliability for Thorold residents.
Okay, thanks for those updates, but this money here, it was clearly slated for road expansion, implementation of new traffic signals, and improvements to intersections across Niagara. So it didn't really talk about water. I'm just wondering and making sure that we have a lot of growth in Thorold, that the proper growth is taking place here, where we're getting those lights, roads. Yeah, so if you don't have an answer right now, maybe just...
No, we can get that,
Yeah.
because
Back
there
to the
are
list.
a lot of those projects that'll be coming forward to council. The money's there, but the actual project hasn't come forward.
Okay, yeah, no, just
Yeah.
curious so that the Thorold residents know that some money's being spent here in Thorold. And there was also $3.1 million will support integral upgrades to regional long-term care homes. Any movement on getting a long-term care home in Thorold? Or even close to South St. Catharines? Anything in the horizon from a regional standpoint?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing on the horizon right now, but it sure wouldn't hurt to have something here for sure.
Yeah.
The two big ones are Gilmore Lodge in that Fort Erie, and then the Lynn Haven in St. Catharines to get those up and running. Gilmore, they took occupancy a couple months ago, and then Linwell's not too far off either. So they're servicing our people, but they're not keeping them at home, you're right, so, but,
Yeah, we need something here in Thorold or South St. Catharines that could meet the needs of Thorold
you're right,
residents.
put more
So-
emphasis, and that'd be great. You spend your whole life here, and you have to leave town to finish off your life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I just had a couple other questions, not to the press release, but just, it was more of, is there, and I can ask both regional counselors since it's a regional update, is there any further discussions on what's going to happen with potential amalgamations or shared services at this point in time? Or are we just waiting for a response from the province regarding the letter that was sent by former Chair Gill?
Yes, I think it's a combination. We're waiting for a response from the province, but as well, there's a motion coming Thursday to our council meeting Thursday regarding work to do on improving shared services and issues related to that.
To go along with that, Councilor Angela, the mayor should be given kudos for pushing with the other 7 mayors of Niagara to put the amalgamation back out on the back, way in the back burner, and hopefully we never see that here in Thorold. But they did a lot of great work as a team, all eight mayors, and did a great job.
Okay, well, my concern is more from the province if they're gonna act on former Chair Gale's reduction of counselors. I'm just wondering if anything was discussed at regional council regarding that, if they're looking at an internal fix to do something with their own structure, or right now it's just gonna remain status quo going into the nomination process?
That we don't know yet. The actual region, a lot of that response and that we're waiting from the province to, I would suspect that if anything's going to change regionally prior to the election, that the province would have to act on that very shortly.
It being a May 1st.
As well as the region will be meeting Thursday, and I'm sure that'll be a hot topic of discussion on Thursday's council meeting.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to throw out there that if there's an opportunity to look at the dual direct, where the regional councillor sits both on the local municipality and on regional council, I think that's something that really needs to be explored. It was almost there in a couple municipalities, but I think that's something that should really move forward for greater communication, and it sort of meets the province's goal of reducing elected officials down. So I'm still not a big proponent of reducing sizes in the local municipalities. I think it should be up to them as opposed to having something forced by the province. Thank you.
Thank you
That's
very
all I have
much.
for comment.
Go ahead, Councillor DeRose.
Mr. Mayor, thank you to Councillor Whalen for showing up tonight. And my questions could be answered by you or the mayor. Just and kind of a common question, but the last 3 years we've seen tax increases of 22.3%. And at what point does the region consider these increases unsustainable for residents, especially seniors and working families already under pressure? Like, there's got to be a tipping point here.
Tell the truth, Councilor Droz, we're there now. Both the mayor and myself voted against this budget. There's a lot more that could have been done that wasn't done. So, like I say, somebody has to give you a right. People just can't afford it any longer.
Right, and we have to start finding some cost-saving measures, because if you look through what they spend, there's so much waste, it's pathetic. But anyway, do you either of you believe that maybe amalgamation's being used as a distraction from the region's own spending decisions and tax increases? That's just your opinion.
My opinion, no, because this isn't being driven by the region. It's being driven when Chair Gale sent his letters out. He was from the region, but it was bigger. It was to realize what you said, that it's unsustainable, and we need a new vision moving forward. And I think that when you look at some of the things that, I think one thing that's going to happen this time that hasn't happened in the past, I do believe that things will be acted on. I don't think everybody realizes status quo is not sustainable.
I agree.
And I think we'll be looking with the CAOs in the region on items specific to service delivery. We've seen that when the province moved planning back to the local level, that's been a very successful move. There's other areas that can be addressed. Number of politicians is a big thing. We know that. Doug Ford says that every time he speaks. So I think you're going to see some changes. So
To go along with that, Councilor Rose, I recommended that Thorold take over Niagara. Her CFO does a fantastic job. Everybody should look to her for direction.
I agree with you 100%. My last question, how can you both somehow get the region to acknowledge that its governance model and spending practices are contributing more to the rising taxes than the current municipal structure? Just as you said, Thorold could run the region, I'm sure, better than it's, I'm not criticizing anybody, but the spending has got to come to controlled spending. Sure. And once again, we're always going after our wants, the shiny new buildings. But it's getting to the point where people can't afford to live, and that's my biggest concern. So if you can pass that on to your fellow councilors there, and the chair and whoever else you can, because it's very frustrating. And I think of myself as a taxpayer of the family, and also especially a lot of elderly people that their pensions are not increasing. They're not making enough money to survive. So but
You're 100%
anyway,
right, Counselor DeRosa. Something has to give. People just can't keep going and going for sure.
thank you.
Thank you,
Counselor. I appreciate
Counselor.
it.
Counselor Sentence, then I'll go to Counselor Hanley after that. Counselor Sentence first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, thanks for coming. Mr. Whalen, appreciate it. I know it's not easy, budgets and taxes, but the part that I did like in there was the affordable housing part and putting a spotlight on that and putting money and dollars into it. So I really like that part. What I'm going to ask tonight as a question is, I pulled the report for the support of the winter cold weather plan. It needs to change as well. So if you could mention that when you're at your meetings and everything, the minus 15 degree plateau where the beds are open, minus 10, like those are crazy numbers to expect people to survive on the streets. So I know that costs money or that will have to be shelters open, but we got to do better than those numbers that that are currently there. So if you could push that.
100% right, Counselor Sentence,
I'd
but
appreciate
then
it.
should you set a goal or a temperature you have to, common sympathy, empathy should kick in.
Yeah, minus
Things are
15
cold, you've got
is,
a lot of people on the street, well, let's step up to the plate and help these people.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Hanley, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could just comment, I see some councilors comment on in regards to amalgamation. But my understanding is that under the Municipal Act and the Municipal Elections Act, a lot of people are panicking, we're going to reduce the size of council, but any change to the size of council for the 2000 municipal election had to have been done by December 31st, 2025. And council cannot pass a bylaw on March 24th, 2026, or any other date after this to change the size of council in time for the 2026 municipal election. So if you read the Municipal Act, which I have, the legislative timelines and nomination period requirements make that clear that we can't be doing this, and that any decision to reduce size of council won't take effect until 2030.
Counselor Hanley, just so you're aware that we can pass any motion, but the province has to rubber stamp it. So at the because it's past the end of December, but the province has the authority to rubber stamp something. They're the ultimate last.
Yeah, legislative they would have to, but just so council knows, the time frame's already passed.
Port Colborne and other municipalities have submitted a reduction, but it's up to the province to approve it.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make everybody aware that that hasn't been mentioned yet.
Councillor Longo, did you have your hand up? Then I'll go to Councillor Dedevies.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Whalen. Councillor Whalen, just have a question about this report you gave us tonight. Item 2, it says, and I'll read it to you, for the average home in Niagara that has a market value of $620,000, this would equate to an approximate $137 increase. When did the region start using market values of homes as opposed to impact assessed values? Is this something new they're doing?
I believe the market value is the impact assessment is what they're using on. We've always used that, so just the wording or possibly, but we do use the impact assessment, yes.
Okay, well, then your numbers are wrong, so maybe you should have somebody at the region look at it, because the average assessed value, I believe, is somewhere in the high 200s.
I agree.
I could be wrong, but I think...
No, I think you're right, Councillor Longo, because that's the numbers we traditionally use, because it's from the last impact. I don't know why that number is
That's a
there.
press
That's
release
a good
by the
question.
region, so I don't know.
Yeah, because market value and assessed value are two different things. I'm just wondering if the region's doing that to make people look wealthier and feel that their tax increase isn't so high. Maybe I'm a little cynical, but I would correct that number.
I know there's a lot of kickback from Niagara on Lake, because their values, of course, are a lot higher than their tax values.
Yeah, but
But
they're nowhere near
that's a point to
that.
bring back, Councillor Whalen.
Okay, we'll find out. for you.
Because it's different than the numbers we use when we do our budget.
Yeah,
you know.
I just wanted to point that out to you. And the other thing, through you to Councillor Whalen, it's not on your budget here, but I thought I would ask it because it's coming later in our meeting. We have a consent report regarding Beaver Dams Road speed reduction recommendation. And in the report, it says that the region has looked at it and decided it's not warranted. This is something I've asked both you and the mayor about for the last few years since the dog park is there.
So, Mr. Mayor, have you got anything from transportation in that respect?
Yeah.
No,
I'm just asking that if you could take that back to the region and maybe have them somebody who has a dog at the region, take their dog out for a walk and see how quick cars go up and down that road.
It is important,
because-
you're right, Counselor.
Yeah, it really does need to be looked at, and that comes from our road safety committee asking for that, okay? So I just wanted to point that out. I know it's not part of your budget, but it's on our agenda package tonight.
Appreciate it.
Important item.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Didovitz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tim, thanks for coming in today. I want to thank you you did a great job February 26th, sticking up for the city of Thorold with amalgamation from the citizens and the business community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And affordable housing, I was looking at that. Is there any way that the private business can partner with the region in building some affordable housing in Thorold
Of
and
course, there's
long-term
always
care
that
center?
possibility, for sure, yes. If somebody has that plans, that step up, I'm sure some help. It's like the nonprofit housing down on Baker Street, same thing, we got the upper level governments to help out with that, and
Okay, because I know there's some business people out there that would like to get involved into long-term care in Thorold, but they're looking for partners so they can go to the region and work something out maybe.
sure. I said on public health, so if you got any of that aspect, give me a call, please.
And I had one question about consultants. I know it's not on there, but is there any way we can bring down the consultants, maybe do some work in-house, bring down the price for taxpayers? Is that floated around there at all?
We always push it that if you can save $1 from going outside, all the better for sure. So it depends on the scope of the project and so on and the necessity.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate you coming in and you're doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Decker.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Whalen, for coming tonight and presenting this budget report. I just want to piggyback off Councillor's sentence with the homelessness. You know, when the weather gets down to, you know, -10, -15, and, you know, they're looking for a place to go, are we going to spend money on, like, temporary shelters for people to be able to go to? I know sometimes at the arena, you know, they can go to the arena, but it's only there until staff is there. So where do they go after that? Like, are we working on places for people to go when they need to get out of the cold, or?
The region does have a temporary spaces. The only downside, they have to leave Thorold. A lot of people want to stay here in their hometown. So that's the problem you have. We do have enough spaces for the people that want it at the present time. And hopefully, like I say, get them off street temporarily and get them into long-term permanent housing. That's the main
And
goal.
it's how we get them there as well, right?
Well, the region will take them there. So we'll pick them up and take them to locations that are available. So if you find out somebody is having a problem, let us know so we can get it resolved.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, and our bylaw deals with the region a lot on these issues, and they get, work with, they have all the contacts
Yes.
that they work in conjunction with.
And Councilor Decker, a lot of these are private places that put up their housing for.
Okay? Go ahead, Councillor O'Hara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Whalen, thanks for coming in. I know, as we've heard, it's a tough time to bring a budget and report on it, but thank you for coming in. I just have a question about the infrastructure projects, and it may not be answered by yourself, perhaps the mayor, perhaps even Councillor Longo, because it's got to do with transit. So it says that there's an additional 43.1 million will be invested in transit, road, water, wastewater, et cetera. I'm just wondering, has there been any discussion of newer routes to Thorold? Because there are areas that we are duly unserviced. So is there anything new to report on in that regard?
So, Mr. Mayor, maybe Councilor Long will come back at a later date, give an update on the NRT.
Councillor Longo's been addressing this, and there's a process that we have to go through, and they're gonna, we can get them here to present, but Councillor Longo's been working on that, and there's a process that we have to go through, because to add routes is gonna increase our costs, because we have to pay for those routes, okay? In this budget, there's no new routes as far as regular transit, but we did pick up extra service on specialized transit in this budget for the city of Thorold, so which was a big plus, because that was an area that was lacking. But I know that to add routes, it's on the radar, and I know Councillor Longo's been working on it, and we've been working with their staff, and then it gets to the point, like with Fort Erie, who added a route, that then it goes and they have to say, we're willing to pick up that extra assessment. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, you're right, Mr. Mayor, in what you're saying. I just add that the transit staff said they'd be happy to come to council and explain how the process works. Unfortunately, with the growth in the region, and we're not the only ones with substantial growth, we have a lot of new communities with very limited, if any, transit. And it's happening in Fort Erie, it's happening in Niagara Falls with new growth, and unfortunately, there is really no budget for it right now. What the mayor says is correct. If we decide that we want to enhance service, first of all, the capital needs to be there from transit to have the buses available, which they don't have. And then they would come back to us and tell us what our cost is going to be, and that would be added to our regional tax levy.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that process would take up to, what, 2 years?
A couple
Counselor?
years, yeah.
Because by the time you institute it and get the buses and get the route aligned, so it's not an overnight process.
Yeah, late 2027 for any increased routes anywhere in Niagara, from what I understand.
Okay, so through you, Mr. Mayor, and to Councillor Longo, what are some of these additional services then that Thorold has been granted in this budget? So are we talking about if someone's in an outlying location, they may be able to call up for a specific pickup service? Is that the additional service that we're discussing here?
No, we don't have that on-demand service at this time. That might be the first step of getting a full route, okay? Right now, as part of the budget, the part that Thorold's actually receiving extra service on is specialized transit.
Oh, okay, all right. But definitely we should perhaps start looking a little bit deeper into locations where they could be serviced on an on-call basis. So, appreciate the information, thank you, and thank you, Councillor Whalen.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Longo. Not Longo, I mean Councillor DeAngelo.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just another one from the Road Safety Committee. I just want to bring this forward because it's really critical. This one is a stop sign at throughway stop at Pine Street and Beaver Dams. This has been at the Road Safety Committee twice already. Now the committee's now asking for formal recognition that it goes to the region to help our city staff here. Here's a prime example of the bureaucracy of the two levels of government where they're not working together to get this done. We put other stop signs up within months. This one's been over 2 years now, and the residents then start questioning that. So I'm asking that, I know this is going to be sent to staff at the region, but I'm going to ask our mayor and our regional councilor to really push this at Public Works. Put it on the agenda. Let's get this done. It's getting worse in that intersection, especially with all the new homes that are being built in the old Exelon property. That's the filter to get them to the highway, and they're going to go down there. So residents have been asking for this. Residents aren't getting this, and it's because we're not working together. We're doing our part, but the region seems to slow this down. They're going to tell, I know they're going to tell us the numbers don't warrant a three-way stop there. Well, the point is we want the three-way stop, so we need to get it done. I'd like this to make this a Christmas present for the residents that live there. If we could do it sooner than that, that'd be great, but it seems to take a long time to deal with some small items like this, and that's where the public gets frustrated. So prime example here. I'm hoping that you two, because I have talked to Councilor Whalen over a year ago regarding this, and it was in that quagmire. Well, you know, it's probably not going to meet the proper number standards, but that's not what the residents are asking for. And safety is critical there. Thank you.
Councilor DeAngelo, I believe they redesigned the intersection there, so it sounds like it didn't work. They squared it off more as opposed to.
It's not the redesign.
Okay,
It's
so
the
but we're going to deal with these items when they come up in the report. Okay, so can we deal with them then, please? Because and they're important items, but that's not what we're here for, okay, right now. Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Regional Councilor Whalen, and while you're up there, we're going to get you to present now on the runway of recognition along with Councilors Decker and Sentence, who are sit on the runway of recognition committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's great to have another hat on tonight, so I'll look forward to my two committee members with me, Councilor Sentence and Councilor Decker. So I think Councilor Sentence is going to kick us off.
Councilor Sentence didn't know that. I'm just here to let everybody know that you can nominate somebody until May 1st, and there's still a lot of people. I just nominated 2 people that I thought were worthy of these awards. So if you have anybody past or, you know, in the present time, come forward with somebody that stays on there for 5 years. If they don't get in this time, they can still stay on the radar list, and then we can vote them in. There's some people that should be in there that won't go in, but if you nominate somebody, you don't have to have all their information right away. Just nominate them, get as much as you can, and then come to us, and we'll keep them on. And so you have till May 1st to do that for our June event. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilor Sentence. And keep in mind, too, it's not only sports people, it's builders. Anybody associated with sports, you may not think they're prevalent. Get their names in so we can have a look at them, because to do their due diligence would be great. And I'd like to call in Councilor Decker to give us a little bit of update on the venue.
Thank you. If you do want to recognize somebody, if you visit the website, Thorold Runway of Recognition, they actually have the applications on there for you to recognize an athlete, coach, builder, etc. Anyway, this year's dinner for the Runway of Recognition is on Monday, June the 15th. It'll be held at the Ovation Banquet Center there in Port Robinson West. Doors open at 5:30, dinner's at 6. Tickets are $40. You can purchase your tickets through Eventbrite, or if you want to see someone in person, then you can go to visit Marcia at the Bomb on Front Street. So once again, if you go to the Thorold Runway of Recognition, it has everything on there, the Eventbrite where you can purchase your tickets, the applications to nominate someone, and it has all our information on there. So hopefully we'll see everyone there. And back to Tim.
Thank you, Councilor Decker. A big part of our event is the White Family Foundation Scholarship. It's amazing. This is our 6th year of it. We thought by now we'd have hundreds and 200 people applying. Last year we had 14. For most people aren't aware of it, it's two $40,000 scholarships. So like you say, a male and a female, or a couple of years ago we had 3. It was so tight we gave out 3. So to date we've got just shy of $500,000 we've given out in the last 5 years. So with this year it pushes around the $500,000 mark. It was amazing that this fellow came forward. It was Jerry White that contributed this. He feels that Thorold made him for what he was. So he was president of TA at 19 years old. The TA was folding up back in the day. So he took over the reins, became president at 19. He came in line with Frank Doherty, who the arena is named after on Front Street. And Frank got him up through the ranks, gave him a job as the general manager at Georgia Pacific. He went over to Taiwan, opened up a couple plants there. And then he was recognized by the Queen a couple years after that. Little guy from Thorold recognized by the Queen. So it was great. So we've got lots of scholarship funds to last us another 25 years. So if you know anybody that might want to get their names in. We hit all the high schools already so far this year. We've been to Thorold High, Dennis Morris, Churchill, and Sir Winston, and Crosley. And to date, we've got 0 applications. The deadline is May the 1st, so please knock on doors. We heard the announcement from the province. They're cutting down the OSAP grants. So I'm sure this will be, and say, no matter who they are, just get the application. It'd be great. So if we get 102 applications this year, it'd be fantastic. So we look forward to get as many as possible. Some of these kids, they say we had one girl that really accepted her. Her father was in the hospital in Hamilton. She got the award last year. She transferred to McMaster to go to school and helped out with her family life besides. So, like I say, it works all the way around. So we like to recognize these kids and give them a great start in life. It'd be great to graduate from university with a $40,000 scholarship behind you. So whatever we can do, talk it up, all the better, would be greatly appreciated. Other than that, that's it. We'll look forward to see everybody on the 16th and get your applications in.
So, Councillor, that 40,000, what is it, like 10,000 a year for 4 years?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
So if you don't spend all on tuition, it could be used for anything, books, a car to get to school. So it's quite wide open.
So, yous will be back, I'm sure, once we know who's being recognized prior to the event?
That's correct. So after May 1st, we get the nominations in, we get the selection, then we'll come back and bring the great results that we're looking forward for the 2025 year.
Okay, thank you very much. Look forward to your coming back and telling us, and hopefully you get a ton of applications.
Just the runway and the foundation would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there are no delegations and items for consent. We have 10 items, 11-1 to 11-10. Before I ask if anyone wants to speak to some, we'll use the same mover and seconder for all 10. Can I get a mover and a seconder? I got Councillor O'Hare and Councillor Decker. And who wants to speak on what items? Go ahead, Councillor Sentence.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, just 11.5. I pulled this report for the same reasons I just told Councillor Whalen. I hope we can support it to get those numbers down and get more support out there. That's all. Thank you.
Councillor Longo.
11.4, Mr. Mayor.
11-4. Okay. Councillor DeRose.
11.3, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
11-3. Go ahead, Councillor Dedevitis.
11.1.
11-1. Anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor D'Angelo.
Thank you. 11-1, 11-3 have been picked already, so we have 11-6 and 11-8 I spoke to, so just 11-6.
11-6, okay. So to start off with, we got 11-2, 11-7, 11-8, 11-9, 11-10. We had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. 11-1. Who's speaking to that? Okay, Councillor D'Angelo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a presentation at the Road Safety Committee regarding the installation of this. So we've now referred it to staff so that we can follow up with the concerns that the business owner on Front Street had regarding that. There's some obstacles there that we're trying to work around. So I think it's a good thing to send off to staff so they could formally do a report and bring it back with what can be achieved and the concerns, how they can be addressed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And you want to speak on 11-1, Councillor?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm glad that staff recommended sending this to the BIA for comment. That's why the BIA exists, so we property owners and business owners can come together, discuss priorities, and decide collectively how to improve our support of downtown. To me, that's a proper process. It shows respect for the downtown business community. Communication is the key, and everybody needs to know what's happening so we can work together effectively. When we found this out, the BIA, we were very upset that no one even brought this to me. I was upset. There's no respect. I was upset. I'm a business owner. I'm a property owner. I'm a developer. I'm on council. I didn't even know about this. This is what I don't like about politics. We need communication. And I was not the only one upset with this. Everybody in the room was upset, and I felt so sorry for Mr. Holman there. He took all that abuse. And I just wish they would come to talk to the BIA. That's why I pay levies to the BIA. If I'm not going to pay, why should I pay levies? It has to go to our chair, Serge, and he discusses with the business owners. You don't have to do that, but it's respect. I talked to 3 business owners today at the cafe. They all feel the same way. You shouldn't do business this way. It's not right.
Well, it's good to see that it is going to the BIA, so that's a good point, well taken. Okay, so we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. 11-3, and that is the three-way stop. And Councillor DeRosa, you pulled this, did you not?
Yes, I did, Mr.
Go
Mayor.
ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Councillor D'Angelo brought this up with Councillor Whalen as well, to get a word in for us at the region. And I agree. I drive by there at least 2-3 times a day. I know all the neighbors, and they're very upset that this wasn't done already. They can't believe that the region, I know they've configured it, as Councillor Whalen said, they've configured it, but it's still not a safe corner. It's very unsafe, especially for pedestrians, let alone cars. I can't believe the region doesn't see through the fog and just say, hey, we have to put that there. Especially people that own the store at the corner, they see it all day, and they live there across the street as well, and they're pretty upset about not having it. So I think it's a safety concern. I think any lobbying we can do with the region would be appreciated. Thank you.
Just to let you know that this item and the item that Councillor Longo brought up, I'll make sure that the next Public Works meeting, I'll continue to address it with Frank Testone, who is the Director of Transportation. Go ahead, Councillor D'Angelo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I made most of my comments earlier when Councillor Whalen was here. Yeah, it seems to be in that quagmire with staff. That's why I think, like you mentioned, at Public Works, put a motion on the floor, get it going from a political standpoint, because the residents are asking for this. It's important, and it's been delayed far too long. So I'm not going to keep repeating the comments, but I do have another point on this. I know on Pine Street, it was redone, and they put new poles up on the one side. On the west side, they put new steel poles up there, but they never replaced the no parking signs on that side, because it's been no parking on Pine Street because of the narrowness. It's on the right-hand side, or on the east side, but it's on the west side right now, because those poles weren't replaced, but on the east side, the poles are replaced, and the no parking signs have never gone back up again. So far, people have not parked on that side, but if you drive on that road quite regularly, you'll see that the signs aren't there. And again, especially with that intersection at Pine and Beaver Dams, that whole stretch is very, very narrow. So if we can maybe just forward that to staff
Sean, can you
try to
have a
get that
look
addressed
into
as
that?
quickly as possible.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes. Yeah, it's a regional road. We'll make sure that they're aware of the situation and get the signs back up as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Point well taken. Okay, are you speaking on this item? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I completely agree with this. I think it's a smart move. I've found that driving along Beaver Dams towards Pine Street, there seems to almost be a bit of a blind spot coming around the curve, and it is a dangerous intersection. So we may not have the numbers to allow the region to automatically put a stop sign there, but for all safety purposes, we really should have a stop sign there. So, thank you. I support it.
Great. Councillor Hanley, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also, the ditto to what everybody else is saying in regards to safety concern, but here's a perfect example of over-governance. It's a city of Thorold issue. It's a road that the city of Thorold, basically, it's in our boundaries, but yet we can't make the decision to do something that's basically a safety concern of residents, both at the dog park and at the three-way stop. So here's a perfect example of having a over-governance, you might say, a duplication of services.
Thank you. Point well taken. Okay, so we had a mover and a seconder on that. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. 11-4. Go ahead, Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 11-4 is the speed reduction in front of Dog Park.
Yeah.
Everything that was said by everybody on 11-3 is the same as this. We need you to advocate for it, and it's too much government. This is ridiculous. If the city of Thorold could control this, we would vote to lower the speed limit tonight.
And it'd be done.
Mr. Santos and his crew would go out there tomorrow and put a sign up. Yet we need a number of engineers and people to do studies to make things safer. So I just wanted to make that comment. This is pretty simple in my eyes, and it's been going on for a couple years. So hopefully you can have somebody see the light at the region.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor D'Angelo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I support all this, and it's one of those ones that now has come to the Road Safety Committee 2 or 3 times. So we're just trying to get stuff off our plate, and it's the same common denominator here, or numerator, if you want to call it. It's the region. Every time we get involved with the region on a road issue, it seems to drag its feet, and the citizens aren't getting what they want. So I could repeat again, but I'm just going to say that we need to move forward a little more quickly on this, and that's where the region could really help us out here. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Sens.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'm there all the time, and they fly down there. And the other thing you might be able to use is that rail trail possibly coming through there. So if that's going to be a pedestrian way, even more so for these 2 stop signs, both of them, if we're going to be going people walking up and down there, that use that as some ammo that this needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Didovine.
Thank you, sir. I frequent that road quite often, have a business around the corner. I was at the dog park today celebrating Frankie's 1-year-old today. And I just want to say the park itself is set up perfect. There's no blind spots when you pull out. There's tons of parking. And there is an issue with the traffic, but the park itself, I want people to know it's safe, but we got to do something about the speed going up and down Beaver Dams Highway. Because traditionally throughout the years, there's been some terrible accidents there. And maybe we should even look at stoplights on Merrittville and Beaver Dams. right there, that intersection right there. There should be stoplights, and Chief Dixon will probably tell you how many accidents, and some really bad accidents, have been happening in that, just right in that corner. People coming down the highway from Brock, going home to Fawn Hill, leaving, coming and going. There's a lot of traffic there, but I support this.
Thank you. Okay. We had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. 11-5, Councillor Sentence. You said, and that's, yeah, regarding that. Okay, we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. 11-6. Who brought 11-6? Okay, Councillor D'Angelo.
Yeah, that was me, Mr. Mayor. The reason I bring this up is at the last council meeting on February 24th, we had discussed it regarding fees that were being charged to the soccer club and to the baseball association for membership.
Is this included?
I believe it's part of the same report, if I'm not mistaken, so I just want clarity on that. And I know we had spoken about this a little while back, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago, and I thought we had removed those. So if we can have a bit of an update, I did ask questions, and they said they were going to bring answers here tonight. Thank you.
Jeff, do you have any answers to those questions?
Through Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so we, the council's made the decision to waive the fee, but I think it's important to have the fee on the schedule in case there are other groups coming in from outside the community that we may want to charge.
But the fees are waived.
Fees are waived for the user groups that we have established.
Okay. Are you good with that?
Yeah, as long as they don't get charged the fee,
No.
if it's a mechanism to get fees from outside groups, I'm okay with that also. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for the answer.
Okay, we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. So that's the end of our consent items. Now we'll move on to items for consideration. And up first, the clerk report, CLK for 2026, on the order of council recorded votes. Can I get a mover and a seconder to put this on the floor? Councilor D'Angelo and Councilor Sentence, and it's open now for input and questions. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Councilor.
Mr. Mayor, I was going to move option 1. The clerk was looking for direction from council regarding the votes. So I was going to put option 1 as part of the recommendation.
I'm gonna get him to put it up right now, okay?
Yeah, I was the one that asked several times if we could clean this up from a housekeeping perspective, because the votes were being done differently. I think option 1, where it says, when a recorded vote is requested, the vote shall start with the requester, the mover, and the voting shall continue in a clockwise rotation, ending with the chair. This method provides a fair approach, as a councillor who makes the request will be the first to provide their vote. So I'm
So
very
what you're
agreeable.
saying is if you made the request, then we'd go clockwise, and then it'd end with me.
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's option 1, right? Is everybody good with that, or does anyone have any other input? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'm going to suggest option 3.
Well, we got option 1 on the floor right now,
okay.
First of all,
right.
and then what we'll do, do I have a seconder for option 1? Councillor Thorold. So you can speak on option 1, and then if option 1 gets turned down, and then you can move on to option 3. That would be the way to do it, am I correct?
Yeah, we can do it. I mean, I don't.
Otherwise, you're gonna have different options on the floor, and then we're not gonna come.
I don't know if there's anyone else who has up. One passes, then they won't have a chance
Yeah.
to speak up. But if it's just between 1 and 3, you can definitely hold the vote on 1, see where that goes, and yeah.
Does anyone have any comments on that? You can make a comment now, and go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I feel that it would be much simpler just to go alphabetically, so I don't support moving in a clockwise direction once the requester casts his vote, just for
No, that's,
uncomplicating things, let's say. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, option 3. Is there anyone else that wants to speak? Right now, we have a mover and a seconder for option 1. He said why he likes the other option as opposed to option 1. Go ahead, Councillor Sentence, then Councillor Longo.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that like we were saying. So you're looking at option 2, Councillor O'Hare?
Actually, I was looking at option 3, but 3B, which isn't here, so I think I confused option 3 with option 2. So I'm going to pull my request, seeing as the person who requests the vote, as in option 1, does start the vote. I do support that.
Okay,
Okay, I'm good with 1.
you're good with 1. Councillor Longo, did you want to comment?
Yeah, I'd like to have a recorded vote.
Yeah? How are we gonna do it? We
I don't
haven't
know.
passed that yet. Okay. I'll leave that up to the clerk to decide how we're doing that.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to have a
You got
recorded
used
vote
to-
based on option 1's rules to see how it works.
I don't care.
You wanna do that? I'm good with it, but I'll let the clerk make that decision, because that's why he gets paid the big money.
Okay, through you, Mr. Mayor. So, for the sake of practice, perhaps we'll go with the option 1 method. So in this case, Councillor Longo has requested the recorded vote. So we shall start with Councillor Longo and then vote in a clockwise rotation. Councillor Longo, so that,
It's already been seconded.
I'm in favor.
Hey?
Who is seconding it?
It's already been seconded.
it's, yeah.
Yeah.
And to be clear, so what's currently on the floor is actually just that the report be received. So what you're doing now is it's a motion to amend to add option 1 essentially as the way to go forward. So just to be clear there. So Councillor Longo, sorry, you said you're in favor?
Favor.
Okay. Councillor Decker. Councillor DeVitis?
In favor.
Councillor O'Hare?
Defer? No, just kidding. Just kidding. In favor.
Councillor D'Angela?
In favor.
Councillor Sentence?
Favor.
Councillor Handley?
In favor.
Councillor DeRose?
In favor?
And Mr. Mayor.
In favor, unanimous.
Okay.
And the system worked, we just tried it.
So that vote on the amendment to receive the report and then proceed with option 1 is carried. If we can just do another vote to pass the motion
As
final as amended, that would be great.
And it's the same mover and seconder?
If you want.
I had Councillor D'Angelo, and who was seconder? Councillor DeRose. Okay? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay. DS 12, 2026, request for municipal support, urban forestry grant application. Can I get a mover and a seconder? I got Councillor Sentence and Councillor O'Hare, and Brian's here from to answer any questions. So the report's on the floor now. And who? And Jay's online as well. Is there any questions, report, on the report? What? Comment? Yes, you can comment. It's on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to planning, this is amazing. It's great to see that we're going to perhaps be able to tap into some money to help us get these programs running. I know it doesn't guarantee the money, but it certainly is a step in the right direction, and it seems like there's some quite adequate funds available. So I really support this, and I'm glad that whoever found this grant deserves some credit there. So thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, not seeing anyone. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. 12.3 DS 13 2026, new tax increment financing agreement with 1882877 Ontario Inc. for 16 to 18 Sullivan Avenue to address prior eligibility. Can I get a mover and a seconder for this? I got Councillor Sentence and Councillor D'Angelo. And Brian's here as well to answer any questions. Are there any questions regarding this? Go ahead, Councillor D'Angelo. And I know this is the one that Councillor Longo declared a conflict, so.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't really have any questions, but I was on council when we brought this in to the city of Thorold, and we were the first ones in Niagara to have this type of program. So it's a fabulous program because it encourages redevelopment of properties that are derelict. This way, any of the costs associated with the refurbishing or demolition get then picked up in the increased taxes, so they get paid back first, but the city will eventually then benefit from it once the repayment takes place. So a fabulous program, and then again, tooting Thorold's horn, we started this, the region then took our plan and copied it, and then other municipalities started promoting it, saying that they were the first, but not giving credit to where credit was due from the staff and everyone that was working here at the city of Thorold at the time came up with this plan. And I know Maria Moore was quite instrumental in this. It's a fabulous way of doing business because everyone benefits from it. You get new properties being refurbished. Those that are putting the investment in get a repayment back on the additional cost of doing it. And at the end of the day, it benefits the whole community. So I'm very supportive of this project and all the projects that we have like this.
Is there anyone else for comment? Go ahead, Councillor O'Hare.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to planning once again. Great program, I agree. This one, however, fell through the cracks. And I know that our planning departments have had some pretty rough years. Thank God we're coming through and things are looking much better. But my question is, how can we ensure, can we put something in place to make sure that even if numbers get diminished, that somehow projects like this stay in the forefront so that the developers don't lose out on the opportunity and have years of frustration and waiting before they are able to reap the benefit. So have you addressed this with the planning department of possible methods to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Not specifically in the form that you're mentioning, Councillor O'Hare, but I certainly will have discussions with council. This one, I think, is simply caught up in the changes that happened in planning over the last many, many years, and it got lost in the process. As long as the current staff are around, I don't think you'll see the same thing happen. We're on top of things and trying to process everything as best we can. The other thing, just to mention while I do have the floor, there will be a report before the end of June that speaks to what the programs will look like going forward into the next cycle. So, because the CIP program expired at the end of December, and then we got an extension for 6 months. So we've got to deal with this shortly, so it's going to be on everybody's radar again in the not too distant future.
Yeah, and that come through at budget time, and I remember Maria commenting on it, and we agreed to extend it until the region plan is in place. That's correct. Go ahead, Councillor Sentence.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, just a comment. I just want to thank staff for sticking with this. Again, like Councillor O'Hare said, it was, where's this, where's that, but the right staff got on this. Maria, Brian, and your staff, thank you very much for sticking with it. And for 1882877 Ontario Inc. for their patience, much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. FES 3 2026 Grass Fire and Rescue Skid Package for All-Terrain Vehicle. Can I get a mover and a seconder to put this on the floor, please? I got Councillor Decker and Councillor O'Hare. And our Chief, Terry Dixon's here to answer any questions. Is there any questions regarding this? Go ahead, Councillor DeRose.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the Fire Chief. Just a question. I know it's not a large overrun. I'm not a fan of overruns. First of all, just how many grass fires do we have in a year, roughly? Just an average year?
Probably have approximately about 6 to 8 grass fires a year.
Okay. Is this not something that we could possibly partner up and share with another community, like the closest community to us might be Vaughan Hill, St. Catharines? I don't know. Is that like going forward? Not this is done. This is great. we need it. But going forward, when there's something that we're gonna use 6 to 8 times a year, that other communities might use 6 to 8 times, is it possible going forward to try to coordinate that with other communities? To share something of that?
Well, my thought process was, the problem that we were having in the city of Thorold was that's the problem. We were trying to rely on other people to do what we needed to get done in the city of Thorold. And the time frame was costing us gravely when it comes down to, especially firefighting, never mind getting patients out of the short hills was another problem that we were having. So we have to rely on other people to do this for us. When it come possible to be able to get this through development charges, it was an opportunity that I thought this was a perfect opportunity that Thorold can do stuff on their own without having to wait for somebody else, whether it be Niagara EMS or other municipalities. This is a great opportunity for us, and put it out there for the other municipalities to ask for our assistance, and we can back charge them for our assistance. So that was the thought process behind it.
Yeah, no, thanks for your explanation. I will support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. FES 4 2026 Fire Protection Grant Approval, Equipment Purchase and Bunker Gear Enclosures. Can I get a mover and a seconder for this? Councillor Sentence and Councillor D'Angela. And again, Chief Dixon's here for any questions. Are there any questions regarding this? It's good to see we got funding for this. That's the good part. And utilize it. Do you want to comment on that, Chief?
I'll comment on that, Mr. Mayor, through you to council. Just to be aware, this is funding that the Ontario Association of Fire Chiefs have fought for very, very largely at the provincial level. The Niagara Regional Police, Ontario Provincial Police, they all get grant money, a large amount of grant money from the province. The fire services never did. So this was our first step. Last year was our first 10 million that we got. It was a 30 million grant that we got from the province.
Well, that was not to Thorold, though. That was spread
Across
out.
the province. So it's 10 million a year to the fire services across the province of Ontario. And they've already increased that. I don't exactly know what the money was, but when we were at our conference last spring, they said that they were going to increase it again this year for more than 30 million over the 3 years. So we're advocating a lot there to help the fire services across Ontario with stuff like this. And, you know, our presumptive legislation that we have in place, this is all part of that whole grant money has helped to prevent cancer. So
That's
just want to
awesome.
give you some feedback on that.
Go ahead, Councillor D'Angelo.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate the chief on getting this grant money, and then also looking forward to see if there's other potential options, especially if they release more money from the province to the grant funding pool. So I'm glad you have the eyes on it and that you're bringing it here to Thorold. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Hey? Yeah, we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor again, please. Opposed? That's carried. 12-6, PWCS 7, 2026, Rodman Art Institute of Niagara proposal respecting Old Fire Station 1. Can I get a mover and a seconder for this, please? Councillor O'Hara, Councillor D'Angela, and Jeff Holman's here to answer any questions. Go ahead, Councillor O'Hara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Mr. Holman. I have a couple of questions. I read the report. It's really fantastic. I'm thrilled that they approached the city, or the city approached them, and they have these suggestions that they may like to work with the city of Thorold together with, and I think it's a wonderful idea, especially as we're waiting to do a bunch of preliminary work and therefore wouldn't be able to use it, whereas the Rodman Art Institute is willing to go in and start something off in these early stages of our development. I just have a couple of questions. The first one is, I believe I read it in the reports, but I'd just like to have it confirmed. If council was to move ahead and agree to this, the preparation for Fire Hall number 1 would be covered by the Rodman Art Institute themselves, not by the city. Is that correct, the way I understood it?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
Great. That's a wonderful first step. They're asking that the city of Thorold covers the utility costs during this preliminary trial period. Do we have an approximate idea of what those utility costs would amount to?
Through Mr. Mayor, I don't have a hard number, but I think what we're looking at is minimal amount of water. They're going to provide their own environmental control, so if they need air conditioning or anything like that, that'll be something that they're providing. I would say utility costs would be in the neighborhood of $500 or less, depending on the number of attendees.
Okay.
We're just basically looking at using the ground floor to host a couple of pop-up events.
Okay. What I'm also wondering about, not only for the preliminary period, but should we enter into some sort of agreement where we go further and they become a partner, let's say, in the old fire hall, then will we still be able to allow other community groups to utilize the center? So in other words, are they hoping to acquire sole possession of the ground floor for their art exhibits and lessons and lectures, et cetera? Or can we still share that? Can we still open it up to the public? So that's a concern for me and a question I'd like to know the answer to.
Thanks. Through Mayor, the Rodman Institute is interested in just kind of getting their foot in the door to see what the interest is amongst the community. As you may recall, our process that we're currently embarking on is to develop an interpretation plan. So this group, as well as the museum, of course, TCAG, the Thorold BIA, will all be key stakeholders in determining how this facility is going to be used and to what extent. When that information comes back to council, we can decide exactly what role they're all going to play. You know, some are interested in more of a tenancy type of arrangement. Some are just interested in pop-up events. And so we want to make sure we collect all the information that's available from the user groups that will be using this. And then we'll be able to make a longer-term decision. But there's no commitment in moving ahead with this to have them necessarily, you know, have a footprint. But we are interested to see how the community is going to respond.
So are you asking tonight for council's approval to move forward or just to accept the report?
Through Mr. Mayor, we're looking for some direction as to whether or not you would like us to proceed with RAIN. And then we would look at a permit process and work out the details for access over this window of time while we're finalizing the detailed design and preparing construction tender documents.
Okay. So do we need a motion for that, or will we simply?
Go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. So right now, all that's on the floor is that essentially this be received. So depending on what council decides, the amendment would be to whatever the case may be, whether it's proceed with phase one or whatever council decides.
Okay. So can I put that on the floor after everyone's discussed it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor DeAngelo.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm supportive of the idea. I think it's a good fit right now as we are developing the property. It's part of a councillor who sits on the committee to do the design work and then also on the museum. I think this is a good fit as we work that process through and we get the interpretation plan. I did have some discussion with our director, Mr. Holman, regarding getting the public more involved in seeing what the potential of this building is. So by opening it up, it actually does that, right? It's sort of been on the back burner where it hasn't really been in the public limelight of what the potential of this building is and how we can arrange to best utilize it. So I think this, again, going through the design phase and starting of the construction phase, it gives us a bit of a tenant that secures the building a little bit more so than it is now. So I think this is a good fit, and it's a trial fit. And then as we develop the interpretive plan, we'll know if this is going to be part of the long-term plan or what are the other options working along with the museum to get the best product out there for our community. and most cost-effective. So again, I'm very supportive of this, and I think it's an excellent opportunity. And again, I'm not sure if it was directly correlated to this, but the executive director of the museum, once she moved on, she does work for Rodman Hall. So I think she knew of this building and hopefully put a good word in for it to try to move forward with this type of project. So we're having some good connections out there through individuals that have worked for the museum, the Thorold Museum. So I think this is a good partnership building. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Denovides.
Oh, I will support this motion also, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a great fit. It's good for the BIA, the downtown, and going forward, there's going to be a lot more need for space. So maybe when we look at this museum, we'll have a space for the community, because a lot of businesses can't afford to rent, give out space for free or discount. So this could be an avenue where we can help our community, create some space, work with some partners, and look at this differently, this museum, and maybe add some more assets to it.
Thank you. Councillor Decker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree. I think this is a great fit, and it'll be interesting to see how many people it brings into Thorold and to the museum. So I will support this 100%.
Okay, Councillor Longo, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'll get you next, Councillor Hanley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My concern was the museum board and people working with that, but it sounds like they're on board with this, so I'm happy to support this. The one request I would make, I see they want to have it from May to November, and then it says opening July 1st, so I don't know if that's time to get prepared, May, June, but since we have our big Canada Day celebration, and I'm not sure the dates it'll be this year, but I think it would complement both the Canada Day celebrations and what they're trying to do if they were ready for the entirety of our Canada Day
Which
celebration.
would be 2 days prior.
Yeah, so if they could be ready the end of June, I think it would be a great way for them to kick off their public opening and for us to piggyback on each other's events.
Very good. Councillor Hanley, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, the idea and principle does sound great, but there is still a lot of unanswered questions. I just have Mr. Holman, through you, Mr. Mayor, mentioned construction tender documents. So if there's to be work in there, the construction tender documents, who's going to be responsible for that cost? Is that a cost the city's going to borne? Because I know you said, or it was mentioned that they would be paying a lot of the cost. If there is to be construction tender documents, who's going to pay for it? Is it actually going to be the Rodman Hall?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, I don't think they're proposing to do any work. In fact, they like the building to be as rustic as possible to come in and set up their presentation. The documents I was referring to was the construction of the actual museum, which will, the design process will take place over the course of the summer, and then we'll be in a position later on this year to tender the construction work. That's all part of the museum project that has already been funded and subject to that grant that we received.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. Another question, Mr. Mayor, through you. I know before when we were maybe decommissioned the building and they were moving on to the new fire hall, is there asbestos in the building?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Through Mr. Mayor, not anymore. We have just finished the removal of all the contaminated materials. There may be a little bit more work that has to be tidied up, but that'll be done very shortly if it's not done already. Thank you.
Okay, great to hear. Actually, that's good. Another thing, through you to this may be for Ria Morrow, Mr. Mayor. Is there a tax component to this? Is there to be taxes to be paid if this building is being used now and being occupied and it's not actually a city entity? Is there any tax exemptions, or what happens here with the property in regard to taxes?
Through Mr. Mayor, we would have to look into that, but normally if you have a taxable tenant in there, then yes, it would become taxable unless the city goes down and declares it a municipal capital facility.
Okay, thank you. Transition from the old federal to the new federal. At one time, I was some past reports, there was some concerns, possibly in the future,
we can't hear you.
They would, okay, there were some concerns about possibly in the future, they would have to replace the heating facilities there. And I know it states in the report they only want it to November. So if they don't take out their art collection in November, Who's responsible for heating the building all winter? Because I'm sure they wouldn't want an art collection there with no heat on. Because the report says they want it till November, I believe, right?
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor, the intention is that this would be for about 5 months, starting July 1st. So we wouldn't have to worry about heating in the wintertime because by that point, we'll be planning construction.
Okay, yeah, that was my, that was my thing, is that they want to bring the art collection, not that I'm against it, but they want to bring an art collection in, and just in case it need to be stored over the winter months until they reopened in May of next year. That was just my one concern. Okay, I got no other questions at the time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Thorold.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm a little concerned that almost every councillor has agreed to this. We don't even have a dollar figure as far as a financial commitment going down the road. So I just want to make a comment, Mr. Mayor, then I'm going to ask
Go ahead.
Jeff a question. This proposal is being framed as a simple temporary pop-up. Let's be honest, that's not what this is. This is a backdoor request for a permanent taxpayer-funded facility. The letter of intent clearly commits us to working toward a long-term cultural center with no business plan, no operating model, and no clear understanding of the full capital and ongoing costs. We're being asked to open the door first and figure out the price later. We've already been told that this building will require millions and millions of dollars in renovations. Now we're being asked to layer an additional expectation, programming, and long-term commitments driven by an organization that doesn't even have a permanent home of its own. Let's be clear, this is a regional organization, not a Thorold-based one. Their financial challenges are not the responsibility of Thorold taxpayers to solve. Even the so-called temporary phase isn't free. The only thing I heard was utilities and readiness, compliance, but these costs can add up quickly. And once we say yes, it becomes very difficult to get out of the contract, and their asks will invariably grow. We've seen this before, projects that start small and end up costing far more than anyone admits up front. I support arts and cultures, but I support fiscal responsibility more. Until there's a full financial plan, confirmed funding, and zero ambiguity about the long-term cost to our residents, I will not support this proposal. Thorold cannot afford to become the default solution for someone else's unfinished plan. So my question to Mr. Holman is, can we say at this point what the total financial implications will be to the City of Thorold taxpayers as we proceed, and what guarantees are in place to protect the taxpayer? Because I could see this running amok.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm not sure what the question is.
What is the total financial exposure, including staff time? And that's what's bothering me tonight, is that we don't have a number, but everybody's, yeah, gung-ho, surely, great. So I'm not gonna agree to anything without numbers. So I'm saying, can you give us any concrete numbers at this point?
Your mic on.
I understand, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Mr. Haney.
Our recommendation is simply to ask for your direction. If you need more information before you want to proceed, then that's fine. We can bring it back to you.
Yeah, this is going to pass, but I just don't understand how people, I don't understand how people can make a decision without knowing how much something costs. You don't do it for your household, okay? If you do it for your household, you're going to be broke in no time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, if you read the report, the Rodman Art Institute of Niagara is very clear on, I'm just saying, if you read the report, then you will see how much the Rodman Art Institute is going to be investing for the temporary pop-up exhibition. It's not going to cost the city. It's not going to require, a long-term contract, and this is something that our public works can be in collaboration with the Rodman Art Institute to ensure that whatever agreement is proposed, and I'm assuming will come back to council, then it will be something that will be worth pursuing. This is something that can bring people to downtown Thorold. This is something that is lacking in Niagara, so to be able to offer it here in Thorold is a wonderful opportunity in a building that's going to sit vacant until at least late fall, early 27. So rather than have it sit empty, we can have someone in there providing a cultural experience to not just the residents of Thorold, but to residents of Niagara who will come to Thorold, who will come downtown. So again, I fully support moving forward and having staff work together with the Rodman Art Institute to see if this can become a viable option for an empty building.
So what we're talking about, and Jeff, because I want to make sure everybody's on the same page, we're talking about not a long-term commitment. We're talking about a pop-up market right now, right? And anything relating to the long-term use of that building will be worked on with the team and how we proceed moving forward. We're talking strictly in this report is from July to November, a pop-up. Am I correct?
That's correct, Mayor.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor DeAngelo.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, that's my understanding, is that it's a short-term, just fill the building. I think, and I don't really want to ask this question, but there's some insurance ramifications of having an empty building. And I'm sure there's additional costs when it's empty, and there's a risk factor there too. So by having someone actually in the building, I think that's more beneficial than having it empty. Because we have another problem with another empty building in our community. So that's why I'm supportive of this. It's a temporary. We still haven't done the interpretive plan and come up with the finalization of what the museum wants to move forward with. So until that's done, there's no way I'm going to be, as a councillor, agreeing to anything long-term. It's an opportunity for them to test the market, but they may not be part of that long-term plan once it's developed. And that needs to be done, and that's what we're working on. So that's why I have confidence here. I think we can allow our staff to move forward. If they need to come back with a budgetary number, I don't have a problem with that. They still have some time here, but if we support it in principle, move it forward with some sort of budgetary number, I'm agreeable to that. But I see them using it as a rustic building, so I don't see them fixing it up, and I don't see the city fixing it up. I think we just need to clean it up, and I think that's been worked on right now. So I think it's a win-win right now. Again, I'm not committing to long-term. I'm just committing to short-term. That's my viewpoint. Thanks.
Councillor Longo, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to piggyback on what Councillor O'Hare said. Yeah, I think this is a great idea. Is there some cost involved? Yes, there are. Some utility costs, cost for hydro, water. But what this gives us, I believe, is an opportunity for maybe a potential tenant down the road to try out a facility that they would potentially fit perfectly into a museum, a cultural center, and maybe an art gallery all in one. If you read their proposal, they have paid rents in the past. They are recipients of grants. So we could potentially use Rodman Hall Art Institute of Niagara as a great tenant in here who would help cover some of our ongoing operational costs when this museum and cultural center becomes a reality. So for a short-term 5-month window of hydro and water, I don't want to make it sound like it's free, but it's certainly not. Like I say, we waste money really well around here, and I don't think this is a waste of money, it's an opportunity. So I'll support this for the short term. And if you read their proposal, it absolutely says it's short term, and they're open to discussions on long term if it works out for them. And obviously if it works out for us.
For us as well.
Yeah, so that's my comment on it. I will support it.
Go ahead, Councillor Ditavides.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to support this also. There's a lot of opportunity, like Mr. Longo said, and in businesses, this is how you can strike a good chance and opportunity. And with Rodman Hall, they have a great history of the Brock for 20 years. There's a lot of people with money who believe in this that might spark something. And a lot of people, they rent places, like somebody rented our place, the Summit. It was a dump. They used it to film a movie. They never touched it. There for 4 months. A lot of people go into Spot and they don't do anything to the space. They just leave it the way it is. And utilities are very minor going forward, but I don't never want to say no to business and be so hammer on down something. You should always be open to new suggestions. This could be, like, we need space in Thorold. There's nowhere to rent in Thorold. So maybe this might make the museum look differently, adding a space, or maybe get a tenant. And it could be a big thing for the downtown, and then the BIA would like to see people downtown, even if it's 10, 20 people. To some store owners, it's a big deal when you're trying to pay the rent at the end of the month. So I think we always have to stay positive and look at this is a good opportunity for Thorold, and it's going to cost you very minimum. And if they're going to pay for the utilities, what risks do you have?
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so you're going to move, Councillor, and Councillor DeAngelo's going to second. Yes, I do. Yeah. We'll get it up, make sure everybody's happy with it, because I want to make sure everybody understands. Okay, so the original motion for consider, and that respecting next steps related to the proposed temporary use of the old fire hall, staff be directed to proceed with Rain's proposed Phase 1 temporary pop-up gallery, summer to fall 2026, as outlined in the staff report. Okay? And Councillor O'Hara's moved and Councillor DeAngelo has seconded. Okay? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Now the motion as amended, okay? We'll use the same mover and seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. You got Councillor Rose, was it? No.
Well, it's not recorded.
No, okay. Okay. 12.7, PWCS, Community Grants, 9/2026. Can I get a mover and a seconder? I got Councillor Sentence and Councillor Decker. And then Jeff's here, and I also see Jacob's here to answer any questions. Now, you see there's a report, and there's different recommendations, and so we need to have a discussion to decide how we want to move forward. Do you want to speak on this? Go ahead, Councillor O'Hara, you can be first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, thank you, Jacob, for putting this together and presenting this. It's always a tough decision, right? Who gets how much and how many groups are applying, but you did a really nice job laying this out. I know Brooke had a hand in this, and congratulations to her as well. Of course, we'd always like to fulfill all the requests. That's the ideal wish for everybody, but we do have to be mindful of the increases that would put on the levy or other sources of money. So I personally am looking at option B as being the one that grants many of the requests, not all, but many of the requests, with some leftover money. So seeing as we've already set the money aside, I'm going to recommend that we utilize some of that money and reward or offer it back to some of the groups that weren't able to be granted any monies in option B. So I can...
Put it forward.
Okay, so a couple of the groups that I would like to include would be the Terry Fox Run. We had the representative from Terry Fox Run come to council and discuss how we could work together with the city, or they could work with the city and present this great event, and definitely a fantastic fundraiser. So I'd like to recommend that we take $2,000 of the funds remaining and apply it to the Terry Fox Run. Also, through discussions with the Thorold Reed Band, being a member of the activities group that works with the Thorold Reed Band, we had agreed to increase their request by $500. So I'd like to ensure that we live up to our word with an additional $500 as the special events group has already agreed to. Other areas that I'd like to suggest we add some money to is the Thorold Museum. They have a significantly higher request, and we haven't been able to meet that. But perhaps we could top it up with an additional $1,500. And I think that might be all of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Garage sale? The garage sale.
Didn't I mention the garage sale? Not yet? Oh, okay. Yes, I did want to insure. I thought I spoke to that already. I must have been thinking about it. And what was the amount that's left over? 1,500?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if we could, if council agrees, allow the Thorold garage sale some additional funds. They serve such a great service in Thorold, well attended, known not just in Niagara, but throughout the other GTA, the lesser known GTA. So it'd be great to assist them in continuing their great work here in Thorold.
So what I'm seeing here is the Terry Fox, you give them the 2,000. The garage sale, you give them the 15. The Thorold Reband, you give them the 6, which is 500. So now you've got 235, 4. There's 1,500 left, and you give that to the museum. Is that the way you?
That's yes, exactly.
Your recommendation.
Yes, that is.
That's what I heard, but I want to make sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor DeAngelo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I won't be supporting that recommendation. And I'm looking at it from the museum standpoint. We have all this money coming in to build a museum, but we don't want to fund the museum. So how do we expect to get to the point of having an interpretive plan done with the aid of the museum? They're categorizing and articling all their artifacts and starting to prepare to come into this museum. They're going to be part of our budget going forward, unless we want to stop the project right now. We started it and we're moving forward with a museum. We've got to start incorporating that into our budget. It shouldn't be part of the community grants. It got sloughed over here, but it should really be part of the operational budget. It's like the library saying, well, we should move the library to community grants. No, they have their own budget and they run it on their own budget. The museum's going to get to that point where they're going to need that support. So if you don't start ramping it up, you're going to get hit all at once 2 years from now, and then you're going to say, well, how come the museum didn't start planning to put something into this building? Well, you really stripped their ability to do so. You know, they had the executive director had to move on because there wasn't funding there to pay for the executive director. So you're not going to get the most out of the museum building if you start stripping this away. So I'm not a big person that likes budget overruns, but to me that should have been included in the original budget and not pushed off aside here. Like we're getting into new programs like the Terry Fox run. Okay, it's a good program, but it's a new program that we're establishing money there. We're not even taking care of some of the old programs we're running. Again, going back to the museum. Again, I'll heed to the rest of the council. If the rest of the council doesn't feel that the investment in the museum is warranted at this point in time, well then, you know, we're gonna have to rely on volunteers to get ready for that museum to be moved into. It's only about 1.5 years away, probably 2 years tops, before that door sort of opens with a museum inside of it. And that's what the grant, a large portion of that grant was for the museum component of it.
Maria, go ahead.
Through Mr. Mayor, I just do want to raise a procedural concern here. The museum was part of the budget. There was $10,000 that was included in the operating budget, and there was $50,000 that was identified as a deferral. So you're correct from a procedural perspective. It should be in the budget, and it was. It's unusual that once it cleared budget, the deferral was not brought forward, that now it appears as a community grant.
So it was in the budget and we didn't pass it in the budget. So now it's trying to come through as a community grant, which it shouldn't be, correct? Okay, so just, that's a good clarity, because I was wondering why it was in community grants as well, so. But with the proposal that Councilor O'Hare talked about, they would end up with 11,500 plus the 10 in the budget.
This is the 10.
Right?
This is the 10.
No, the 10 was in the budget. It's the same
Through
10?
you, Mr. Mayor, it's the same 10.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Go ahead, Councillor Sentence.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I understand the museum's point of view, but we need to have things happening more there, and I think in the future we are going to fund them. That is our, whoever's on council next time, we are looking to fund them. So I like option B with those additions, and then we're always willing to work with the museum any other way we can as well. So I like the option B and adding on to those other areas. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else want to speak? Go ahead, Councillor DeRose.
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor. Why isn't TCAG on here anymore?
They're a part of a line item now. Am I correct? Because we have an agreement with them, so that's a line item in the budget.
Wanted to make sure they didn't get left out. Thank you.
No, that's why, same with our committees of council, don't show up here because we fund those differently now. They're not community grants. Anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor Long.
I just want to piggyback on what Councillor D'Angelo said here. I don't think we can ignore this issue we have. We've all committed millions of dollars to a museum. We need people to prepare for it. They've told us what they need, yet we're only going to give them, what, 20% of what they want? Not even. So we need to do something. So I don't know if tonight's the proper time to do it. Do we need staff to come back with a report based on that, telling us how we can fix this problem? Because it is a problem.
So that's a good point, but do you want to approve what's there and come back with a report on?
Well, I want to make sure this doesn't die
doesn't
here
die.
tonight.
No,
We
no.
have to address it. It's not an easy situation.
But there's other things that have to be addressed at the museum level that I think need to be addressed, and that is their commitment to fundraising.
Well, absolutely, and it's all tied together, but
That is something that needs to start. They should be working on that now.
absolutely. There's a lot of issues involved in a $7 million project, so.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna throw this out there, and then you, if we approve the budget as laid out there, they would end up with 11.5, but we'll bring a report back on how to deal with that shortfall. Is that what you would you be in agreement, or is that something you would think you're comfortable with, or no, if you're
Yeah,
not?
if we can do it as easy as that, Mr. Mayor, just ask staff to forward on a suggestion on how we
can
solve
fund
this museum funding issue.
Okay, is everybody good with that? So that's not getting lost in the shuffle. Staff's gonna come back and present us with a report with some options. And but at least we know that money's there. That's all for now, okay? Okay? Are you good with?
Yeah, I'm good to support B with the report for the museum coming back.
Okay, so you have a mover, do I have a seconder for that? Your recommendation, Councillor Decker. Okay, so just to be clear on what we're doing here, if everybody's in agreement, is this 5,500 will be broken down, that the Terry Fox Run gets 2,000, the garage sales gets 15, the Reed Band ends up with 6, and the 1,500 left go into the museums to make it 11.5, plus a report coming back, okay, on how to address, how do you want to call it? How to address a funding shortfall, or and options on how we can address that?
Funding options.
Okay.
To address their needs.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. Okay? Okay. I'll wait till our clerk gets that up so that everybody's happy with it. Reed Benton gets 500 more. No, add additional 5, 2,000 Terry Fox, 15 the museum, and the other 15 to the garage sale. That's correct. Okay, that staff be directed to report back to have additional for respecting funding options to address the museum's needs. That's good. Okay, I'll let the clerk put that up. Everybody see it, and if everybody's happy with it.
Councilors O'Hare and Decker as the mover and second?
Yes, O'Hare and Decker.
So this is on the amendment.
On the amendments, you have 2 there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna vote on the amendments, and then we have Councilor O'Hare and Councilor Decker, and then we'll move to the main motion once as amended, if council passes them. Okay, so the amendments are 2 and 3 as clearly laid out on the screen. Can everybody see it? Okay, on the amendment, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. On the full motion as amended, say mover and seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, now we're going to move on to PWCS 10-2026 Drinking Water Quality Management System Annual Summary Report. Can I get a mover and a seconder for this, please? Councilor Decker and Councilor DeRose, and Jeff's here to answer any questions, or Sean. And I even see Steve there. We can't let him off the hook tonight. Is there any questions regarding this report? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. PWCS 12-2026 Niagara Region Emergency Medical Services Lease Extension at Fire Station 2. Can I get a mover and a seconder for this, please? Councillor Sentence and Councillor O'Hare. And Jeff's here to answer any questions. Any questions regarding this? I'm happy to see this come forward. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. PWCS 13-2026 Algon Regen X1 Regenerative Air Sweeper. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please, for this? Councillor DeAngela and Councillor Dedavides. And again, Jeff's here to answer any questions. This will be will we have the, if we pass this, will it be ready for this season? Yes? Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Dan.
My question is, how old's the one we have right now? Is it like 20 years old?
How old's the one we have now, Steve? I knew I'd get you up at some point tonight.
Through you, Mr. Rare. It's probably about 6 years old, but this isn't a replacement. This is an addition to the fleet.
Oh, okay. All right. Strangely enough, people love to see that street sweeper out there and cleaning the roads. It's one of the values they see for their taxpayer dollars. So have another one out there in the fleet, that's awesome.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. PWCSC 5-2026, establishing a working group for civic recognition event. Can I get a mover and a seconder for this, please? Councillor O'Hare and Councillor Decker. Jeff's here to answer any questions, and
we'll need to amend this with the.
Okay, so what we want to do is not only have a mover and a seconder, but then we want to have councillors who want to sit on this. Okay, Councillor Sentence, you want to sit on that? Councillor, how many councillors want to sit on this? Because as far as I'm concerned, we can.
Well, you can't.
How many you want?
You don't want quorum, that's for sure.
No, you don't want quorum, okay. So who, Councillor Sentence, Councillor Decker, and Councillor O'Hare, and Councillor DeAngelo. We got 4, so.
Sentence, Decker, O'Hare, DeAngelo?
Yeah, is that good? We're good, that's not quorum, you need 5, right?
That should be fine.
You should be fine.
I can pass if 4 is too many.
Well, we'll leave that with the clerk. We'll put your name forward.
Okay.
And if not, we
All right.
can. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, as a suggestion, why don't we have like an alternate in case the timing doesn't work out for the other.
Okay, so we got that, and you want to be the alternate then, Councillor O'Hare? There we go. Okay, Councillor O'Hare will be the alternate. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Notices of motion.
Hold on, now as amended.
Oh, I'm sorry. We gotta have the same, now vote on that as amended with the names of the councillors that are gonna sit on that committee. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Notices of motion. Go ahead, Councillor Sentence.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, I have two. I'll do the first one for an ad hoc, downtown ad hoc parking committee to reestablish it. That's
Okay,
for the
we'll
next
work on
time.
that. That's a good thing to get going again downtown.
And I have a notice of motion that I'd like to suspend the rules and vote and talk about tonight because it's time sensitive on council composition. So I guess first I'd like to see if we, council will suspend the rules so we can talk about it tonight.
Okay, so our vote here is not on any motion other than to suspend the rules because council composition, and it's time sensitive.
Yeah.
Because nominations open May 1st, as everyone's aware. Okay. Can I have a seconder for that? Councillor De Davides.
Can I just ask for clarification on that? If it's time sensitive, we have a meeting in April. Can it not be brought forward in April?
Well, I think the issue is that if whatever's passed, if it's passed, has to go to the province to get cleared prior to May 1st, because it's after this 31st of December. So we can pass it, but the province has to approve it. So it has to go from here to the province. Like Port Colborne just did that at their last council meeting, and it's gone to the province. And I think Grimsby did, and I know it's before Niagara and the Lake tonight as well.
But, okay, my concern is that we're not gonna have any public input if we make a decision tonight.
Well, this report came to council back in December, if you're, regarding this. We just received.
November. I think it was in November. When
November?
The world has changed since that regarding amalgamation, though.
Listen, we get 2/3, we can suspend the rules of council, we get 2/3, and then we can debate it. We're not passing anything right now. 2/3 to suspend the rules, okay? We had a mover, and who seconded? Councillor De Davides. Okay, all those in favor?
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mr. Mayor, can we get a recorded vote?
That's good.
Using the new rule.
The new rules. We'll start with you, Councillor Sentence.
No, me.
Oh, he's called to.
You gotta know the rules.
You're in the hot seat.
Practice makes perfect, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so through you, Mr. Mayor, so this is a recorded vote requested by Councillor Longo, and it's to suspend the rules to hear the motion at this point. Councillor Longo?
I'm in favor.
Councillor Decker? In favor. Councillor De Davides?
In favor?
Councillor O'Hare?
Favor.
Councillor D'Angela?
Opposed?
Councillor Sentence? Councillor Sentence?
Favor.
Councillor Handley?
Opposed?
Councillor DeRose?
Opposed?
Okay, Mr. Mayor?
In favor.
Okay, so it required 2/3 to pass, or 6 members of council. It has received 6 members of council's votes, so that passes.
Thank you. So now the motion comes forward. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas the provincial
Seconder for this motion? Councillor
Okay.
De Davides, okay.
Whereas the provincial government has expressed the desire to reduce the number of municipal councillors in Niagara Region, and whereas 8 Niagara Region mayors signed a joint letter stating a commitment to building a governance model that is streamlined and transparent to the public, and whereas further to information provided in report CL 16 2025 received for information by the Thorold City Council on November 18th, 2025, many municipalities in Ontario, similar in size to Thorold, have a council composed of 1 mayor and 6 councillors, and a structure commonly considered capable of supporting effective representation of constituents. And whereas several other lower-tier municipalities in Niagara Region have decreased their number of councillors or are in the process of doing so, and whereas in accordance with Municipal Act 2001, the timeline for Thorold City Council to enact a bylaw to amend council composition for the 2026 municipal election is passed. Now therefore be it resolved that the Corporation of the City of Thorold enacts as follows. 1, that the Thorold City Council endorses an amendment to the composition of Thorold City Council from 8 councillors to 1 mayor and 6 councillors. 2, that the city clerk be directed to circulate this resolution of council endorsement to the Premier of Ontario and a Prime Minister, or to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. 3, that the city clerk be directed to confirm with the Premier of Ontario and the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing that without provincial intervention, the above changes cannot take place until the 2030 election. And 4, that Thorold City Council hereby requests that the Premier of Ontario and the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing implement the above noted change to Thorold City Council composition for the 2026 election. And can I speak to it?
Yes, you can.
So I have a lot of thoughts here, so if I ramble, I apologize. But the reason I brought this forward earlier was to be proactive, because there were more than rumors in the air of what was going on, and the government had, you know, a majority, and this is what they were looking at doing. We'd heard, or more than heard, that certain mayors were meeting with the Ford government and discussing these things. So that's why I brought it forward originally. Now, after everything that's happened with former Chair Gale, and with when you hear Doug Ford talk one day, no, the mayors will decide, oh, wait a minute, I really want this. I don't know which way he's really leaning towards. So we are, as Councillor Longo said before, housing-wise, we're 1, 4, 8 region, province and the country. If I have those wrong, then they're close to it. We got the lowest or next to the lowest tax increases rates over the last 8 years that I know of. Our finances are in good shape and our reserves are in good shape thanks to, staff. This seems to be the one last thing that he's asking for, that too many councillors and too many politicians. So to do this, I think is prudent. I think it puts us in a bad position if we don't, because I know all the other cities are doing it right now, and if we put ourselves on the line if we don't do this, and he says, I could picture a scenario where we don't pass this and we don't do it, everybody else did, and he said, well, I gave you the chance and you didn't do it, so now guess what, you're part of St. Catharines, you're part of Niagara Falls, wherever it is. I don't know. I don't know with this government what they're going to do, but it isn't gone. Amalgamation isn't gone with, Chair Gale being gone. This was never designed as a cost-cutting measure. It's not a lot of money to councillors. It was never to keep people out or to keep people from being able to, to run. This was totally, from the beginning, on us not being amalgamated. I do not want the city of Thorold amalgamated. I don't want to see that come. I don't want to, in 2 generations, become, oh, that's Thorold, that was that place on the hill. I love everything about our region, the sports battles with other cities, the jockeying back and forth. I love how the Niagara region is set up. Can it be done better? The region, absolutely. We do a little bit of our part, but if we do this, we've done everything we can. Everything we can to say, don't amalgamate us. If we don't, I fear the worst. So that's why I'm putting this motion forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Go ahead, anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor O'Hare, and then Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Sentence, I want to applaud you for your foresight. I know you brought this to council once before and took a beating for it, and I really want to commend you for bringing it back. I truly believe that this sends a signal, a message that Thorold is going to do their part. We're financially responsible, and simply by addressing the constant threat from the Premier of the province that there are too many politicians in Niagara and something has to be done, once again, we're taking a step forward before something is enacted upon us. So I really do see this as a positive step forward, and again, I commend you for bringing it back. So I fully will support this.
Thank you. Councillor Longo, you had your hand up? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just ask Councillor Sentence if he could just read, since the motion's not up, if he could just read the first paragraph to me again, please.
Hold on one second. The first paragraph?
Yes.
Whereas the provincial government has expressed a desire to reduce the number of municipal councillors in the Niagara region.
Perfect, thank you. That's what I take as the strongest part of the message there. We can say and do whatever we want, but at the end of the day, we're a creature of the province. The province tells us what to do if it comes down to it. The province is our boss, whether we like it or not. Do I think fewer voices at the table is a more democratic way to run a city? No. Do I think it's fair for people who want to run for council in the future? No, it's going to be harder for them. And these are things I said before, but I will support this because the boss is telling us to do it. And I'd rather do it on my own than be forced to do it, or to potentially have it be even worse than what he's asking us to do. So the boss wants less politicians in Niagara. I will do my part and give him his wish. I wish I could vote on other levels of government and do even more for him, but I'm only limited to getting rid of 2 councillors here. So I will support this, even though I have apprehensions, but I will move forward with Councillor Sentence's motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Decker.
Thank you through you, Mr. Mayor. I'll support this as well. I don't like it, but I agree that it's our decision to make and not to be forced upon us. And I would hate to see us lose our identity. I've said that over and over again. So although I don't love it, I'm going to support it because I think it's the right thing to do.
Thank you. Councillor Hanley, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Without being fearful of the region, I believe that the issue reducing council size, both here in Thorold and within the broader discussions that we know are taking place across the Niagara region, that this has always been presented as a simple question of efficiency, and a smaller council, we're told, will be more streamlined, more effective, and less costly. That's what this is all about. Reducing councils about expenditure. To me, I'm suggesting that in this framing, while appealing, is incomplete and ultimately misleading to myself. Because when we examine what actually changes when we reduce the size of council, it becomes clear that the benefits are overstated and the consequences are very real. Thorold is not a single uniform community. It's a collection of distinctive neighborhoods, established areas, growing subdivisions, canal-side communities, and rural and industrial lands. Each of these communities has different priorities, different pressures, different voices. And the role of council is to ensure those voices are heard. When you reduce the size of council, I believe, you do not reduce the needs of these communities. You simply reduce their access to representation. Fewer councillors means each member is responsible for more residents, more issues, and more competing interests. It means less time for constituents, less presence in neighborhoods, and ultimately less advocacy at this table. This is not a theatrical concern, it's a practical reality today. And it's become even more significant in the context of what is currently being discussed across Niagara. There are ongoing conversations about restructuring governance across the region, about streamlining, consolidation, and doing more with less. And for municipalities like Thorold, that raises an important question. If decision-making is already at risk of being pulled further away from local communities, why would we at the same time reduce the number of voices representing those communities here at home? Because that is the effect, I believe. We're not just simply reducing the size of council, we are reducing the strength of local representation at the very moment it may be needed most. To me, this is also a matter of cost savings, which is often put as the primary justification. But let's be clear about that. Council costs represent only a very small portion of the overall municipal budget, and the financial pressures we face, infrastructure growth, core services, remain exactly the same regardless whether we have fewer councillors or not. So the question becomes, what are we truly saving? The honest answer is very little. Certainly not enough to meaningfully impact the tax burden on residents, but what we do risk is losing far more than significant, because fewer councillors does not mean less work. The same volume of decisions, oversight, and community concerns remains. What changes is the level of scrutiny. What changes is the number of perspectives at the table, and what changes is the degree of accountability built into the system. And when you reduce the number of voices, you inevitably concentrate influence. Decisions are made by fewer people. Debate becomes narrower, and a diversity of perspectives that strengthens good governance begins to erode. This is not increased efficiency. This is reduced balance. Strong governance is not about having the fewer number of decision makers. It's about having the right structure to ensure decisions are tested, challenged, and informed by the communities we serve. And that requires representation. As we consider the future of the governments in Thorold and within Niagara more broadly, as we know it's happening, we should be cautious about solutions that prioritize optics over outcomes. That's what this is about, optics. Because the appearance of efficiency is not the same as effective governance. And when representation is reduced, it's not easily restored. This is not simply a structural change. It's a shift in how residents experience their local government. It affects access, it affects responsiveness, and it affects trust. To me, in my view, reducing the size of council does not strengthen Thorold. It weakens its connection to the residents, and that matters. Because I believe in the end, you don't fix governments by removing voices, you fix it by making it work better. Because once those voices are gone, the people they represent are harder to hear and easier to ignore. And after all the rest of the councillors have an opportunity to speak, I'd like to make one more comment that I'm allowed to, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else that hasn't spoken? Go ahead, Councillor Genevieve.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm in favor for this to reduce the size of council. And what Anthony Longo said earlier, my boss is the taxpayers. And what Carmen said earlier, treat it like it's your own money. That's what we have to do. Two counselors, that's $50,000 times 4. That's $200,000 you save. And we have to look at it like the taxpayers do. Small things in business give you a big punch. You save 50 here, 50 there, 50 there. I talked to Maria today. You $250,000, $500,000 you save, that's 1% off your taxes. That's the problem with government. We don't think about small things. And in business, you do. Because when you think about small things, it makes a big impact. I was taught that at a young age by a man. I was pushing a broom around, and he always used to tell me, keep your eye on the small things, small things, small things. That guy went on to be an entrepreneur, Hall of Fame in Niagara, left a $15 million portfolio behind. That was my father. And I've been in that game my whole life thinking about small things. And that's what we are here for the people. And by having less counselors, it's more efficient. We're not wasting staff time. It's about money. And any decision you make in council, it's always about money. And this is very important to the taxpayers because we have their purse. We have to take care of it. So eliminating 8 to 6, where all municipalities are going to 6, and we're not going to go that, it doesn't make sense to me.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Duro.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. Personally, I'm a firm believer of smaller government. The irony here is, though, we're all concerned about this extra money that's going to cost 2 counselors, but we just approved a project that we don't know the cost, what the cost will be. So I just find that ironic. I will support the Councillor Sentence's motion, just for the fact that I believe, I honestly believed that what Councillor DeAngelo said. We should have waited, I think, but now that the cat's out of the bag, we might as well just go ahead and do it. But I see, this is what frustrates me. The region should be the first ones doing this. They should have been the first ones all over the paper, what they're gonna do to reduce. We're gonna do our part, because we're a municipal government, and we're more transparent, and we're more efficient financially. But, you know, we can't keep wasting. The region's gotta take the lead on this and start doing more than what we're doing, because they can. They've got more waste there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor DeAngelo.
Yeah, I got a list here, so I just want to make sure. So Port Colborne is at 8, now they're moving down to 6?
Port Colborne, just so you're aware, Port Colborne was 8, they moved to 6, but they did it after the deadline, and so it's in front of the government for the rubber stamping.
Okay, Fort Erie?
Fort Erie's is already at 6.
Okay. Niagara-on-the-Lake?
Niagara-on-the-Lake, it's in their council tonight.
So they're
Reduce it.
They're looking at 8 to 6. Okay. How about Welland?
Welland is at 12, but they're reviewing it. I can't tell you what they're going to do, or if they do. I could tell you Niagara Falls is 8, and Niagara Falls is like 3-4 times the size of Thorold.
Grimsby?
Grimsby last night. They did it last night. Manoj said 6. West Lincoln 6. Lincoln 6. So that's the,
Grimsby?
Hey, Grimsby is yeah 6. Well, they are 8, and they had it last night 6. But all this, anybody after the end of the year has to submit it to the government for the rubber stamping. So,
My disappointment in this process is we suspend the rules. I just don't like that because, you know, as it was mentioned, the taxpayers are our boss, and we don't even get to go back and talk to them about this issue. That's what really disappoints me here. But if we want to do it for optics, and we want to do it because we think the provincial government's going to be appeased with it, it's a sad day, a real sad day. It's, you know, I always hate voting against stuff, but it's tough when you represent the citizens and you can't get them involved in the process. And we had plenty of time to do this, and we should have done it sooner. Through you, Mr. Mayor, did we put a survey out last time, that report? And what were the numbers on the survey? So if someone could refresh my...
I got the numbers if you want them.
Well, sure, I love that because, like I said, we're going off the top of our heads here.
the clerk's getting it.
Okay.
Well, I'm just waiting for the numbers to come up.
And I asked, as I'll keep speaking as I'm waiting for the information. I asked earlier about the region, and there's nothing really going on at the region. So again, it's always the municipalities that have to show leadership when the region isn't.
Well, the region's got a meeting Thursday. I can't tell you what's gonna happen, but I can tell you there's a regional meeting on Thursday.
Okay, is it on their agenda?
There's a motion that's on the agenda about a working group and dealing with the issues relating to service delivery and this and that.
No, but is there a motion or anything indicating that they're gonna reduce, a discussion reducing their council?
There is no official motion on the agenda.
Maybe they're working on, maybe they're working on the stop
Well,
sign.
I'm just telling you what, yeah.
No, I appreciate that.
Okay.
I mean, a little sarcastic.
And we're dealing with local area municipalities, and the region is, I don't think anyone will tell you that, that they shouldn't be reducing the number of regional councillors.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so this is CLK 16-2025. This was the report that my department clerk staff prepared in response to the September motion, and it included survey results. So there was a public survey that was open from September 13th to October 13th. Online, social media, paper copies at various locations. I won't read the whole thing, but as you can see here, this is the summary of the responses.
Okay, by highlighting, you just made it worse to read, so thank you. Okay, so it's basically a 50-50 split on the amount that we have and to reduce it. Yeah. Yeah, I just, again, it's more, I think, disappointment that we're heading down a road of less representation overall. Will it starve off amalgamation? Hopefully. Only time will tell. But I'm gonna leave my comments at that. Again, this is a sad day.
Thank you. Councillor Dedeville.
My decision wasn't on optics, none of that stuff. I did a survey. I had 65 people direct message me. I had 80 comments through social media. Overwhelmingly, people from Thorold said, go down to 8 to 6. I don't make any decision just because optics. So I take offense to that. I asked a lot of people in the community, and the people I asked in the community, and I walk around downtown like all the time talking to people, they all said reduce it. So I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Long.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The numbers are gone, but I believe it said 44% said reduce.
I'll wait until he puts it back.
Too many.
Because the comment was made it was 50-50 split. That's not quite accurate.
But my comment, just so, because he's referring to my comment, it's 44 responded current, 43 responded was just right. So that's where I'm using the 40, so I'm off by about a 1%.
Okay, but an excellent counselor, I apologize. It says, when asked whether the number of counselors should change, 45% responded that the number of counselors should be decreased, and 38 responded that the number should stay the same. I'm looking at those numbers. And I would argue that this was done in November 18th, 2025. And my argument, I can't prove it, but if you ask the same question today, the numbers would change dramatically from those 45 and 38.
I think.
And I, again, I can't say that for certainty, but I think that number would be, the gap would widen greatly. So that would, I know we want public input. I'm glad we did this report with a survey, and I will use these numbers to make me feel better about a bad decision.
Thank you. Councillor Hanley, and then I'll go to you to close because it's your motion. Go ahead, Councillor Hanley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say in regards to the survey, there was 179 respondents. I went through it. It represents 0.613% of the city of Thorold's population, so a very minute amount of people, just a little over 0.5% of the people of the population responded. So to take that as a reasoning as to, I'm going to use those numbers, and just to remind you, 5% of the respondents didn't live in Thorold, 9% of the respondents didn't vote in the last election. And if you look at the one number, two questions were basically the same. The one question says, do you think the current number is too many? 44% said yes, just right 43%. So they're the numbers that Mr. Councillor DeAngelo was referring to. And, just to make a note on the end and that stuff and mentioning about, the Municipal Act does give us the authority, and I know that I looked at it today, to reduce council size. But like Councillor DeAngelo said, but you know what it did today? It does not remove our responsibility to the people we represent. And to use this survey of only 179 people, when 5% of the people who took the survey didn't live in Thorold, really doesn't equate to anything, less than 1%. Because it's not just about governance change. To me, it's a reduction in representation. I've made time. And fewer councillors means fewer voices at the table. And at a time when Niagara is already facing conversations about restructuring and possible amalgamation, the last thing residents want should see their local representation be reduced without being asked, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
And if you're going to take away seats at the table, we should have first give residents a seat in the conversation, because this is about what we can do. It's about what we should do. And cutting, to me, representation without consultation isn't leadership, it's avoidance. So that's how I feel about it. And I want to say something. I didn't mention any councillors' names when I said optics. I said that word in general. So that for a council to say it was directed towards one individual, that wasn't the case. I didn't say any name specifically.
Okay.
I said the optics is what it appears to be. That's what the word means.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Sentence, to wrap it up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't enjoy this decision either.
I think anyone does.
But I think it's necessary. I would enjoy amalgamation a lot less. And if this is what we're being asked to do, then that's what I think we should do. And I'd like a recorded vote, please.
Thank you. And you've asked for the recorded vote, so we'll start with
Again,
you.
a lot of that rule tonight. Perfect.
What?
New rules. New rules, please.
We're ready
Huh?
to go.
I'd still
new
like to
rule.
use the new rules, please.
What?
New rules.
Yeah, well, we're starting with you.
All right.
New rules.
In favor.
Okay, sorry, I'll just go through. So Councillor Sentence,
In
your
favor.
vote. Okay. Councillor Hanley,
Opposed.
Councillor DeRose,
In favor?
Councillor Longo,
In favor.
Councillor Decker,
In favor.
Councillor D. DeVitis,
In favor?
Councillor O'Hare,
In favor, thank you.
Councillor D'Angela,
In favor with a sad face.
and Mr. Mayor.
In favor.
Okay, so the vote is 8 in favor, 1 against. That motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, and you brought the notice of motion regarding
The ad hoc committee for
ad hoc
downtown
committee for
parking.
parking downtown. Okay. Anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor. Councillor Decker, then Councillor Dindovine.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Notice a motion to look at some of our procedural bylaws.
You'll have to spell them out when you ask them, okay? Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That we recognize and honor one of Thorold's own, Fred Neal, for his 38 years of public service and for an outstanding commitment to our city.
Thank you.
And I have another notice of motion. Yeah, Fred Neal. That staff identify ways to reduce or defer costs and explore incentives to help kickstart the housing.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor DeRose.
Yeah, I'd like to put a notice of motion on election integrity. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna move on to motions. And Councillor Sentence, your motion respecting implementation of recycling pickup for non-eligible sources.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Mayor.
do you have a seconder for this? Councillor Dendovaitis, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas effective January 1st, 2026, the province of Ontario mandated that industrial, commercial, and institutional properties deemed non-eligible sources will no longer receive municipal curbside recycling collection under the transition to a producer-led recycling system, requiring affected business, charities, and nonprofit organizations to secure alternative services. Now therefore be it resolved that the Corporation of the City of Thorold enacts as follows: that the city staff be directed to prepare a report outlining possible options to re-implement recycling collection services for non-eligible organizations, including potential delivery models and associated financial and operational impacts. Can I speak to that?
Yes, you can.
And again, this is just if there's possibilities out there. I've been approached by 2 church members, different church members in the downtown area that work with their boards, and we sit on the BIA, and the BIA asked, and they asked the same thing, which kind of bothered me. They said, we understand the downloading, but have you tried anything? Have you looked into anything? Have you seen if there was something? And I've talked with Jeff Holman, and maybe there are some possibilities. Maybe there isn't. Maybe it's too expensive. But maybe there's bins here or there. Maybe there's a shared costing part to it. But they asked, why haven't you at least tried something or looked into something? And they didn't have an answer. So that's why I'm bringing this forward, just to look for, and I say, possible options
Yeah, well,
that
the
could be
staff will
implemented.
bring a report, and there'll be dollars
Yep.
attached, and
No,
At the
I
end
wanted
of
to
the day,
explain,
It's gonna be about money,
Yes,
just so you know.
I understand
And it's
that.
gonna be who's gonna pay that.
I
money.
understand that.
That's what it's gonna be about. Go ahead, Councillor Durham.
Mr. Mayor, isn't this more of a regional issue?
Well, it's a regional issue, but it's our issue if we want to provide enhanced service, or if we want to come up with a model where our businesses can pay for it. So it's like before when we had a collection downtown, we paid for that it's an enhancement.
Yeah, I don't want everything to fall on taxpayers, that's all.
You have to understand, recycling is not a regional responsibility anymore. It's circular materials, so.
But we can also lobby them.
Yeah, well, what do you think we've been doing at the regional level?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's laughing, but I'm saying we should push this on them and have them come up with a plan.
Well, they right now.
That's something you and Councillor Whalen can do.
No, this is got nothing to do with the region now. The region is lobbying to try and get that included, but we can lobby as well. And so the BIAs actually were part of the lobby before it got implemented. And the province decided to go in that direction. But just so you know, it's not a regional responsibility on the recycling side. It's a circular materials is now responsible for that. Go ahead, Councillor DeAngelo.
Again, this is one of those circular things that happen. Thorold used to take care of our own waste management quite a long time ago. Region took it over, charged us more money for it. Then they got into the recycling business. They actually made money in the recycling business. Then the province took that away from them. It's like, this is ridiculous. That's why the taxpayers are getting hammered with all these extra costs, because any service that we provide is going to be an additional cost. Some taxpayer is going to have to pay for it in some fashion if we subsidize it. And again, like, our government's not wanting to work together and not see the big picture of this. It's ridiculous. We're actually spending staff time on an issue that's not even a city issue. This is where we've come to, and this is where a lot of waste is going into. Again, going back to the region, they ran a recycling program, made money at it, and they actually had the City of Waterloo used to bring their recycling down here, and they made money from it. Like, this is just absolutely crazy. So I'm assuming the province is the one that set up this circular recycling.
Circular materials.
Circular materials. So who's the one making the money on this, while the municipalities now have to subsidize stuff or not give services? Which leads to, if stuff doesn't get picked up, it gets distributed amongst our streets and in our ditches and in our curbs, which then spends more city taxpayer dollars going to pick it up. Like, it's pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. Maybe the governments should, at a higher level, should actually start looking at some of this stuff, as opposed to looking at areas where they just want to reduce council size as a priority, as opposed to providing services to the citizens. I just shake my head when I see this stuff. We're more and more, we're doing housing projects here in the city of Thorold. We're doing stuff that's beyond our scope, and it's costing our local taxpayer double because they're paying for it at the region, and now they're going to pay for it here. But again, we're doing our due diligence. Again, the local municipality, the local councilors are the ones doing the due diligence and trying to solve problems that our residents have. If we weren't here, nobody would be looking at this problem, right? So, again, unfortunate, but we're stuck with another potential cost. But I look forward to the report and seeing what we can do to mitigate some of this. Thank you.
Okay, so we got to go ahead, Councillor Dinovan.
I support this report. It's sad because a lot of people downtown, some still recycle, but a lot of stuff is ending up in garbage bags, and they're not recycling. I know we all go green, go green, go green, but we don't want to spend the green to get there, and it's kind of bad. We're all, you know, the businesses, they can't afford to, they don't have the time, they can't afford to pay for it. So hopefully we can find something. I'm glad Ken brought this up, because the BIA did, I was there, and they addressed it, and they put them on the spot, and they want to know, have you tried? And now we're trying, so hopefully something good can come from it.
We'll tell you, all the BIAs were involved in the process, so they can't say they didn't know. The region got them, and the region actually told all the BIAs that they needed to lobby the government as hard as the region was.
Yep.
So it's not from lack of work on the
Oh, no, it's
region's
not.
side.
Now
I want people to understand that. And since I chair waste management at the region, I understand this because I was involved from day one.
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, okay, so we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor, Did you want to speak, Councillor Hare? Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very briefly, I just want to say that through you, that the offloading of the collection of recycling materials was just done without any real solution, and that's the problem. And as it can lead, as Councillor De Vita said, to people taking green waste and putting it into garbage, where it has not gone for years. We're going to see this throughout the province, all because of the lack of thinking through the downloading of this program. So, yes, I support it going to staff, and maybe here in Thorold we can come up with something that can help out our businesses who are in a tight corner.
Thank you. Okay, we had a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. I got Councillor O'Hare on your motion regarding designation of 3054 Orchard Hill Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, put your seatbelts on. It's a little bit long. Whereas Sarah King Head, CAHP has conducted research relating to the potential to designate 3054 Orchard Hill Drive, both the St. John's Common School and the Street Haney Miller Mill located in the city of Thorold under the Ontario Heritage 1990 as amended. And whereas the property is determined to have architectural, associative, and contextual value in accordance with Ontario Regulation 906 criteria or determining cultural heritage value or interest, and whereas the structures individually and collectively through their design, physical, historical, associative, and contextual attributes highlight an example of Niagara's early colonial and settler community building patterns, and whereas both structures retain a high degree of heritage integrity with physical and spatial relationships that continue to communicate their original functions within the landscape, and further that restoration efforts since the early 20th century and most recently in 2021 have respected the established aesthetic and material character of each building. And whereas designation of this property will support the City of Thorold's cultural heritage goal and objective to identify, conserve, and enhance its significant cultural heritage resources. And whereas the Heritage Advisory Committee has reviewed this heritage designation, now therefore be it resolved that the Corporation of the City of Thorold enact as follows: that City Thorold Council consider 3054 Orchard Hill Drive, both the St. John's Common School and the Street Haney Miller Mill, located in the City of Thorold, as a resource of cultural heritage value and interest in accordance with Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act 1990 as amended, that City staff be directed to proceed with the required process to designate 3054 Orchard Hill Drive, both the St. John's Common School and the Street Haney Miller Mill under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act 1990 as amended, and that the city clerk be directed to provide notice of intention to designate the property in accordance with bylaws number 56, 2024, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 97, 219, to provide for the form and manner for the provision of notice of heritage designations in accordance with section 26.4 and 39.13 of the Ontario Heritage Act 1990 as amended.
You're right, it was long.
Yeah, they're not usually this long, but this is a special case. And I'm just going to say
well,
two
wait,
sentences.
I need a seconder for that.
Okay.
Councillor Dedivitis. Okay, go ahead.
All right, just a couple of sentences. I just want to say this is a great addition to the City of Thorold's Heritage Program. If you haven't been out to St. John's, hopefully you'll come out if this should pass its heritage designation, which we'll hope for very much. It's a wonderful site. It's a treasure. It's really something special. And it's important to point out how the NPCA pursued this heritage designation together with Heritage Thorold and were the greatest working partners we could have asked for. So special thanks go out to them.
Okay.
And there'll be more in the future regarding a ceremony.
Thank you. Councillor Sentence, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, just a comment. I'm surprised this wasn't already good to see, and I'll support this fully. Thank you.
Okay, we had a mover and a oh, go ahead, Councillor Long.
So just a quick question, sorry. I'm assuming I know where this property is. This is city property? No, okay, then that's my question then. Can you tell us who the owner is? And
NPCA. The NPCA?
NPCA, okay.
Yep.
And obviously the MPCA is in favor of this being done.
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, they were just great partners to work with. It's part of their mandate to designate their properties when they can. And so we were more than happy to work together with them. It's
Thank you.
a wonderful spot.
Okay, I got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Statement by councilors. Councilor Decker, your statement regarding the coldest night of the year.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank our team Warm Hands that participated in the coldest night of the year. We had some staff and counselors that participated. Just want to say the event was really well run, and there was probably hundreds of people out. They gathered at the Penn Center to do the 2K and the 5K walk. So I just wanted to give a thank you to Dave and Jill Baldoni, Councillor Tim and Anna O'Hare, Councillor Sentence, Dan Hales, who also works for the city, and myself. And just to let everyone know that in that short period of time, our team raised $1,000 for the event. So I just wanted to say thank you to those who participated. It was a great night and a great event.
Thank you so much. Councillor DeVita, statement regarding Ronald McDonald's campaign.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of my brother Mario DeVita, the CEO of Ronald McDonald's House Charities, South Central Ontario, I want to thank the mayor, staff, councillors, the business community for sharing the love campaign, purchasing T-shirts, and supporting this most precious charity. I want to special thank you to Impact Promotions, Santino for supplying the shirts, and all the proceeds from the shirts went right to the Ronald McDonald's House. So it was amazing to see that. And I want to give a special thank to another Thorold business and resident, that used to be a resident here, Mark Bassiano. The work he does for Ronald McDonald's House and charities is simply amazing. He's another piece of Thorold, and what he does for that Ronald McDonald House is quite amazing. And I want to say, with Ronald McDonald's House, it's not just a house in Hamilton, but they open up a family room in St. Catharines. They get about 3,000 people a month going in there for meals and for having time to stay when you're in a most vulnerable spot, just to be by yourself and put your life back together. So it really impacts a lot of people in our community. There's ex-employees of mine who spent time at Ronald McDonald's House, and it's really amazing how Thorold took this initiative and went forward with it. And it all started with a bunch of Thorold guys going to Ronald McDonald's House. They were impacted from it, and Santino put this thing together with my brother, and it's amazing to see. And Thorold is an amazing community. We support each other, we're growing, we're positive, and we don't need amalgamation because we're already united, and this shows how united we are. And I want to thank everybody. I also have one more thing to say about Friday, April the 3rd, is our Bunny Hop dance party at the Moose and Goose. It's all free. Everything's free for the community. Last time we had 700 people, mostly all from Thorold. It's turning into one big family event. I want to thank to Old Fashioned Barbershop. They're providing the chocolates. They step forward. The Chef Bub. They're providing popsicles for all the kids, gourmet popsicles. Marindola Real Estate Management Company for providing face painting to the kids. There's going to be dressed characters are going to be there. It's going to be an amazing event, and it's all free. So I'm really happy to see the community support these events, and that goes to show how Thorold really loves these events we're doing. And it all starts from the community market by starting with that and just put the light bulb on in Thorold, and this is going to grow, and there's so many positive things. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hanley, you're up next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just with Councillor Dundevites, that's a great initiative with Ronald McDonald House, and I seen his brother Hector and Santino. They actually went there cooking. If I remember, I seen it in the news for them, and they prepared all the meals for the kids for a day. That's really great. I just wanted to bring up, Mr. Mayor, in regards to, didn't get to mention it last council meeting, you were there, the food distribution that took place on January 31st, and Councillor DeRose was also there delivering groceries to 240 residents in the city of Thorold, apartment buildings and individual residents, and we'll be doing another one again shortly, and I'll put the word out if any councillors wish to attend. And then also I'd like to thank the city. I know there's a substantial amount of garbage that was on Beaver Dams Road, and even though I may be away, I got a hold from a resident, some photographs, sent them into the city. The city coordinated with the region, I believe, and cleaned up that mess. I don't know if council's seen it. There's a significant amount of garbage there. And then I just wanted to bring up an event that I'll be attending on when I get back on April the 11th in regards to the YMCA, and it's a Move for Kids that's going to be happening. If I can, I just say Move for Kids supports the YCMA of Niagara's Stronger Together campaign, which provides vital access to summer day camp, swim lessons, and safe, welcoming spaces where young people can build confidence and a sense of belonging. The impact of the Stronger Together campaign in 2024-2025 demonstrated how community support makes a difference. 1,657 individuals were able to access health, fitness, and aquatics programs by overcoming financial barriers. 1,156 children attended YCMA camps, which I did when I was a kid in Thorold, to tell you the truth. 6,000 plus youth interactions were delivered across 18 program sites in Niagara, creating meaningful opportunities for youth engagement and belonging. And the date that's going to take effect, and I'm going to forward it to councils, is Saturday, April the 11th, between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. The locations of Niagara Center YMCA, Niagara West YMCA, Port Colborne YMCA, and Parkway Social VIP bowling lanes on Ontario Street in St. Catharines. And activities will include cycling, muscle fit, drum fit, aqua fit, yoga, and bowling activities by various locations. I had been given an invitation. I don't know if the rest of council has, and was asked to forward it to council. So there you go, Mr. Mayor. That's the end of my statement by councilors.
Thank you so much, Councillor Hanlon. Okay, so now we're moving on to closed session. Before I ask for a mover and a seconder to go into closed session, I would like to remind you of your obligations respecting closed session. Those who are participating in the closed session must ensure that no other person is in the location from which they are taking part in the meeting, or make appropriate arrangements so that any other persons cannot see or hear any of the confidential deliberations taking place. If this is not possible, you must withdraw from the meeting until it is reconvened in open session. Council staff and everyone present during the closed session have an obligation to ensure that what is discussed in closed session is kept confidential. And the reason we're going into closed session is a confidential verbal update respecting QP negotiations. And there it is, a matter respecting labor relations or employee negotiations under Section 239 2D of the Municipal Act 2001, confidential update respecting QP negotiations. Can I get a mover and a seconder to go into closed session? Councillor Sentence and Councillor O'Hare. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, so we're gonna